Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have returning guest Jackie Barrett. She's a psychic medium. She's currently in New York, originally born in New Orleans. She has led such an interesting life, and when I first saw her on a TV show as a psychic contest. I can't remember. She'll probably remind me what the name of the show was. But she blew me away. I don't remember anybody else from that TV show. I don't remember any of the other psychics, but I never forgot Jackie Barrett because she was incredible. And I think you'll find her incredible tonight. We will have phone calls into the show. I didn't even ask Jackie, but we're not really doing psychic readings tonight. But if you want to call in and ask Jackie a question or bring up your own paranormal experiences and get her input on it, that would be fine. Phone lines I'll give out after our second commercial break. That's probably when we'll take the calls. And of course, what we do every Sunday night is the World Wide Web of Weird, and we got some weird to talk about. So let's go ahead and get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. And I also said Jackie Barrett's going to be our guest. We'll have her on after the World Wide Web of Weird. She'll be on by phone. That also means we only have two phone lines open. That is the Skype ID 00JBland00 and the phone line 219-230-4444. Those are the phone ways to call in tonight. The other two lines you probably see scroll across. Ignore those. Don't call in on those. Those are down. When we have a guest on phone, those lines aren't open. But two should be enough for you guys to call in. And like I said, we'll be taking those phone calls later in the show. All right, let me go ahead and bring up my panel. I think I just have Jamie with us tonight. Jeff is a little bit busy, so we will hopefully get him back next week. And Rob's running late, so we got my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing really good and really excited to have her back tonight. I've been looking forward to this since I heard about it.
Yeah, I know. Before the show, she's like, "Oh, what do you want to talk about?" And there's like so much to talk about. The 3 hours are going to go by pretty fast. 2.5 really for the interview, because we do what we do every Sunday night is the World Wide Web of Weird. So let's go ahead and get rolling into it. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, we're going to start off something we talked about. I don't know if it was the last World Wide Web of Weird or 2 World Wide Web of Weirds ago, but we talked about Jose Canseco, weird time-traveling aliens tweet that he made. A tweet. I hate saying tweet, but a tweet he made about aliens and time travel. Well, I guess the story's not over on that. I had a feeling there would be more. For those listening, and I hopefully are listening, actually, I should double-check that here in a second, because we had trouble last week with our stream. We could not get our radio stream to work, and our guest, Joyce Isaacson, thought the spirit of Tommy Evans from Badfinger might have had something to do with it. Well, something happened, because it changed the bit rate, which has never been changed in the 2 years I've been using this program. Just changed on its own. So don't know what that is, but hopefully, let me check. Let's just double check, make sure that was the issue. We are still streaming 6 minutes in on the radio. So if you're listening on Paranormal Soup Radio 24/7, you can watch. If we had any videos tonight, no videos, so you can just listen. We'll narrate, but there are some cool photos, and you can always go back and watch again on our Facebook page, Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, or on our YouTube page, Jason Bland Paranormal Soup. Check it out there. All right. First up, Jose Canseco, this is his tweet here. Come spend the day with me and my alien buddies. I'll show you Bigfoot and a real alien. Call Morgan at 702-374. I'm giving the number, 3735. You call him. This is a Huffington Post article here. The former baseball MVP is pitching a trip to what he claims are the sites of authentic alien sightings and proven Bigfoot habitats. Former baseball superstar Jose Canseco made his name hitting home runs, but his latest project is a pitch to go Bigfoot hunting. The former MVP posted two tweets on Tuesday night offering to take a few lucky people on an expedition tracking the mythical beast and a real alien. Both for the price of one. Huffington Post called the listed phone number and received this text message. Spend the weekend with Jose for $5,000 cash. Only 5 lucky individuals will get a golden ticket. Oh, my God. Oompa Loompas ain't got nothing on Bigfoot. Travel in his custom RV to an authentic alien sighting and proven Bigfoot habitats. Camp out in the wild, tell stories, and maybe meet a real Bigfoot. You never know what's going to happen with Mr. Canseco. Food included. Only serious inquiries, please. I will help you book your flight to Vegas and set in itineraries. Thank you, Morgan. The response said the first excursion was almost full. Wow. Well, they said only 10 people, so I guess there's 10 people out there with $5,000 to blow. This isn't completely out of the left field for the 50-year-old outfielder. A few weeks ago, Canseco posted a series of tweets claiming aliens had given him the secret to time travel. You know, if I had money to blow, I would blow it. I would blow $5,000 and go Bigfoot hunting with an alien hunting. I mean, come on, it's a deal. 2 for 1, aliens and Bigfoot. I would totally be there. I would be there in a heartbeat. All right, let's move on here. All right, number 2, and I'm running the World Wide Web of Weird, so I'm a little rusty at it, so just hang in there with me, guys. I'm getting a little better at it. Here we go. Okay, next one. We've been talking about Mars a lot lately, and this one is kind of sad because, you know, they a couple years ago, they came out like, hey, you know, sign up to go to Mars and never come back. For some people, that might sound like a great idea, but sadly, that idea might not be happening. This is from CBC News. Mars One, which offered one-way trips to Mars, declared bankrupt. 200,000 people applied for the around the world, and from around the world, 6 Canadians made the 100-person shortlist. So why was it Canadians? Mars One, a Dutch company that planned to send humans on a one-way trip to Mars and start the first human colony on the red planet, has been declared bankrupt. The declaration was made in Swiss court, on January 15th and posted on Reddit this past weekend, officially dissolving the Mars One Venture AG. We are currently working with the administrator and the investor to find a solution moving forward, though at this moment this is all we can share, the company said in an email. The bankruptcy affects the company's commercial arm, Mars One Ventures AG, but does not affect the non-profit Mars One Foundation, the email said. A press release notes the company is currently working on a solution with its investors. Mars One began accepting applications in 2013 for a mission to establish a permanent settlement on Mars. It planned to launch a total of 24 people in groups of 4 every 2 years starting in 2024. The company claimed it could do so using existing technology, but what existing money is my question. That was my question back then, and I guess this is our answer. The estimated launching the first 4 people would have cost $6 billion U.S., and it said it planned to raise money through broadcasting rights and sponsorships. Yeah. More than 200,000 people from 100 countries applied, including more than 8,000 Canadians. You know what I think about the broadcasting rights? Like, most people thought, yeah, those people are going to die. I think some TV execs and people might have thought about advertising, might have second thoughts. Like broadcasting rights, yeah, no. If things go badly, we don't want to show that. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on. All right, number 3 in the World Wide Web of Weird. This comes from Unexplained Mysteries. This is exorcists called to help possessed girls. We've had a lot of these stories over the last 3 years, almost 4, the World Wide Web of Weird, and they keep happening. Exorcists called to help possessed girls. A government high school in India was recently at the center of an alleged possession involving 14 pupils. It's always these mass hysteria possessions. The bizarre incident, which occurred in Bimital, town of Nainital, I probably butchered both, district, began when a young girl reportedly became possessed and started to behave in an irrational manner. A class of 7 students was possessed last Thursday and started doing bizarre activities like breaking chairs and shouting loudly, said the principal in charge. I'm not going to try to say his name. When other girls tried to calm her down and offered water, the influence spread to them as well. They started shouting loudly, dancing, jumping here and there. They were crying loudly as they were scared, looking at the other girls. In an effort to address the problem, the village administrator and school management opted to call in a specialist priest to conduct jaguar, a form of ancestor spirit worship. The girls calmed down after the jaguar was conducted, said village head Madan Singh. I'm not going to say that. When we asked Jagaria, I guess that's how you say it, as to why this incident took place now and nothing of this sort happened before, he told us that often spirits remain dormant for up to 20 years. He said even on the buildings constructed above a graveyard, he said even on the buildings constructed above a grave ground, that doesn't make sense, the spirits may not cause any trouble for up to 14 to 20 years and reveal themselves only later. Well, is it a graveyard? Is that what he's saying? I mean, did they build a school in a graveyard? Because that would be a bad idea. I don't know. It makes you wonder, what happens in these, is it a cultural thing? I mean, I've seen the videotape. These girls really do go pretty nuts, and it's happened in different parts of the world. I'm just waiting for it to happen here in America. I'm just saying, will it? I don't know. Okay, maybe those kids are already possessed. I don't know. Let's move on. All right, number 4 in the World Wide Web of Weird here. All right, so this one I kind of like because of my son. One of his favorite dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, the newer movies. I know they're not the greatest, but he loves the Mosasaurus. There's been a possible sighting. I don't know if I butcher that's how you say it. The Mosasaurus reported possible in Canada. This comes from noblenews.com. This is from the author of the article. My specialty in cryptozoology is modern Petrosaurus. Yet on occasion, I get an email regarding possible living dinosaurs. Early in 2019, I got the following email regarding a possible Mosasaurus in Takala Lake, British Columbia, Canada. Just an update. Spring is fast approaching. This is what he got in email. Just an update. Spring is fast approaching. I have friends at Takala Landing, a reserve by Takala Lake, of course. I've suggested to them that they ask people who live around the lake, as well as people who work on the lake, concerning a gathering of raptors, birds of prey, probably in June. These raptors gather on the branches of trees just before the hatch of the eggs of the huge reptiles which live in Takala Lake, and they lay their eggs on the same beach that year. If we can determine the location of the gathering of raptors, we can then watch their particular beach waiting for another gathering of raptors. As soon as we spot that gathering, I'm suggesting that people go to the beach with cameras and wait for the hatch. It's important to get as many pictures as possible, including videos that can capture a hatchling or two, and then try to keep the animal alive, perhaps in a laundry or a sink bathtub. The scientists will no doubt deny the existence of this animal, which I suspect is a Mosasaurus. I hope I am mistaken, because if I'm right, God help us all. Even a small boat is not safe in that case, but that remains to be seen. However, there are a great many large lakes in North America, and I'm hoping other people can also join in the search. No doubt, know far more people who are open-minded than I do. So what it's worth, I pass on the word that this first person to find a living, breathing, prehistoric monster, a hatchling, will be set for life. As a bonus, it will not cost much to locate them. They are knowledge of computers and social media is a definite bonus. Hope to see you soon. The large aquatic creatures that are commonly thought by many scientists have been long extinct. That is not my specialty, so I probably will not be traveling to British Columbia to search for anything like dinosaurs, the author of the article said. The one they show in Jurassic Park is like super huge. I don't know if that's right or correct, but if it's anything near that big, I'd think they'd be hard to not miss unless they just stay deep underwater the whole time. I don't know, but boy, I showed this article to my son. He's like, "Really? They're alive? They could be alive?" Oh, the excitement in that little 7-year-old's brain going on at that thought. But gave him some hope. He likes the monsters. He likes to see him eat people. That's why he likes Jurassic Park. All right, let's move on to number 5 here. This comes from storynewspets.info. This is a good. I don't know what to think about this ghost photo here. Let me make sure I zoom in for the audience. All right, so here it is. All right, so. This is a friend took a photo of her spreading her dog's ashes, and they got this photo. When Ashley Lang reached the park to spread her beloved dog's ashes, little did she know the universe was going to give her a special sign to remember her dog by. Ashley, who lives in Chicago, had lost her beloved golden retriever and a best friend, Wagner, when he was 12 years old. She wanted to do something special for him, so she decided to spread his ashes in his favorite dog park. Ashley reached the park and began spreading Wagner's ashes. Her friend was taking photos of this moment when she noticed something incredible. One of the photos had captured what looked like a white silhouette of a dog. It's pretty remarkable, the tail and the legs, and he looks like he looks like he's, leaping to go up, Lang told CBS Chicago. Everyone keeps calling him the angel dog. All dogs are angels, and Wagner just gave Ashley proof that he was one too. We hope she frames this photo and keeps it for life because it's truly something special. Like I said, this is from story.news pet info if you want to check out the photo for yourself there. But yeah, I mean, you see a tail, you see legs, you see that. I mean, she just threw the ashes up. Some people are like, well, that's the ashes in the air. I don't know. That'd be quite a coincidence. It has a tail and leg. It looks like it's jumping up to catch something she's thrown in the air, which is its own ashes. But, or is it the ashes just happened to look like that when they flew? I don't know. But you see a tail, you see 2 legs, you see a little head. Definitely looks like it could be a dog. I won't deny it. All right, let's move on. Number 6 in the World Wide Web of Weird. This creeps me out. I used to have these weird. We talked about dreams of Lane Delphin. I don't think I got into these dreams, but I used to have some weird dreams about deer, like being infected back in the day. And I remember seeing the show. The 100, and they had like this deer with like 2 faces and stuff in the woods. It's all mutated, and that freaked me out because of those dreams. And now these stories I've been seeing about zombie deers are really freaking me out. Really, just zombie deers. Deadly zombie. This is from Express.co.uk. Deadly zombie deer disease outbreak may spread to humans. World Health Organization warning. Zombie disease is continuing its spread across the United States, and World Health Organization experts have warned humans could be next, victims of the deadly infection. Zombies are the nightmarish scenario where the reanimated dead. I love how they have to explain this to us. Relentlessly attack the living, but like the warning from a horror film, a real-life terrifying condition called zombie deer disease is currently sweeping the U.S. Now, there are growing fears the disease could even transform into an epidemic, infecting humans. Zombie deer disease earned its fearsome name as the victims lose coordination, become aggressive, and waste away. And the debilitating disease can prove fatal in worst-case scenarios. Zombie deer disease is spreading rapidly across North America, and affected areas are expected to expand further. World Health officials have now urged humans to avoid eating any animal infected with the infection. While there has been a concern it could become a new mad cow disease-like epidemic, new evidence yet exists showing humans could be affected if they eat the infected meat. I would not take that chance. However, recently published study has shown that the macaque monkeys can succumb to the disease after consuming tainted meat. Poor monkeys, they had to feed that too just to find that out. Let's just not eat the deer. Center of Disease Control, and I like venison, don't get me wrong, but seriously. A Center of Disease Control and Prevention spokesperson said, since 2000, the area known to be affected by CWD and free-ranging animals has increased to at least 24 states, including states in the Midwest, Southwest, and limited areas on the East Coast. It's possible the CWD may also occur in other states without strong animal surveillance systems, but the cases haven't yet been detected. Once CWD is established in an area, the risk can remain for a long time in the environment. The affected areas are likely to continue to expand. In several locations where the disease is established, infection rates may exceed 10%, and localized infections rates for more than 25% are reported. The infection rates among some captive deer can be much higher, with a rate of 79% reported for at least one captive herd. Zombie deer disease started in Colorado and Wyoming about 40 years ago, but has since spread beyond those states' borders. The CDC report said since 2000, the area known to be affected by CWD and free-range animals has increased to at least 24 states. I hate that when they repeat that in the articles. But just, Can it spread to humans? Don't be eating venison. I don't know. I mean, let's get a clear picture. Is this just typical scare you media? Because they said it's been around since, at least for 40 years, But now it's spreading. I don't know. But I've seen some video. I don't know if it's zombie disease or zombie disease, a deer zombie disease of some kind, or some kind of radioactive tumors. But I saw a video recently. I didn't want to even show it. It's so bad, of a deer that like has all these kind of like, it looks like tumors maybe on it. I don't know. It's messed. It's something out of your nightmares. And it's alive, barely. You want to just put it out of its misery instead of videoing it. It was just, it gives me nightmares. Okay, speaking of zombies, the last article in the World Wide Web of Weird. And really? All right. So this comes from ladbible.com. A woman says she never felt happier till after marrying her zombie doll. What is next? I mean, like, seriously, how many World Wide Web of Weird stories have we covered now of somebody marrying something weird and paranormal or weirdish? This isn't paranormal. It's a zombie doll. With a Valentine's Day just around the corner now, but this was before Valentine's Day, obviously. Happy Valentine's Day, belated. Is the perfect time to share a touching love story about one woman and her zombie doll. 20-year-old Felicity Kaldek has tied the knot with the love of her life, Kelly Rossi, a zombie doll. Felicity says is 37. Well, she gave it a full name and everything. Romantic or what? The unusual nuptials took place in Tiverton, Rhode Island, U.S., and set Felicity back $500, which covered the cost of the outdoor venue, decorations, her wedding dress, and a suit for tomboy Kelly. In attendance were 4 friends as well as 8 other zombie dolls. Oh, boy. At least inviting dolls designed to look like the undead kept the buffet cost down. Felicity, who now lives in Vienna, Oklahoma, with Kelly, says the marriage has made her her world complete. Our wedding ceremony was beautiful and perfect, exactly the way I dreamed it would have been, she said. I made sure that the whole wedding was done properly so it would be as official as possible, and we consummated the marriage afterwards. Kelly was the groom as she takes the male role in our relationship. She is a tomboy, so I wore a suit. I feel she was most comfortable as the groom. Despite having been in a relationship with Kelly for 4 years, getting married to her has made me feel so much closer to her, both emotionally and intimately. Felicity and Kelly first met after Felicity's late father bought the doll as a gift. Boy, he regrets that. When she was just 13 over years. And it says her feelings grew. She said, I found Kelly on a creepy doll collection website. My dad bought her for me when I was 13. He's like, worst purchase ever. It wasn't until I was 16 years old I started to get feelings for her, but it was something I kept on trying to deny. Really? When my father died last year, oh man, I found myself becoming closer and finding comfort in Kelly, and she was someone that he bought for me. I can see the connection. Her dad bought it for her. I finally allowed myself to be open with who I was and let my feelings come out, and despite not ever agreeing with my love of life, I have never felt happier. When I started to feel more confident in my relationship, I knew I had to marry Kelly, but I waited until September, as that's the same month as our birthdays, so I knew he has a birthday. Or she has a birthday, sorry. I knew it would be extra special. Although Kelly sports a rather unusual look, Felicity says she wouldn't change a thing, and how many of you can honestly say that about your partners? It's a zombie doll. A really grotesque-looking zombie doll. What is it with people marrying inanimate objects?
And where is it recognized? Like, who's going to recognize this union?
Is she going to carry the zombie doll around? Because people might freak out. Like, she's carrying around a mutilated child. I mean, the woman wearing the ghost, the guy dating his robot. I mean, it's like we're encouraging people to lose actual human connection anymore. You go marry your doll, or the woman who married a railroad station because she was in love with it. We've had all these on the world. It's like, are people just going to start giving up on people? Like, I'm going to marry this couch over here. It's done so much better for me than any of my past girlfriends. I'm going to marry this couch. I love my couch. It's like, what's going to happen when we delve into more robotics, and virtual reality, when we disconnect from reality even more? People are going to be marrying robots. That's what's going to happen. Or people that are not even a robot. They'll just marry somebody that's AI in the AI world. I'm sorry. My sci-fi brain goes nuts with it, but also my paranoia and worry about the human condition when I see stuff like this. But that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird, pretty much. Again, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm a libertarian. If she wants to marry a doll, I'm for it. Give her even legal status. I don't care. whatever. I'm for marry. You do what you want to do. I'll stay out of your business. But I really worry about humanity. I really do, because I see more and more of these stories. And maybe that's just, we're just seeing, it's always been there. People were marrying their zombie dolls way back in the day. I don't know. Or inanimate objects. I don't know. But I feel like we're seeing it more and more, these kind of stories, and it really worries me. It really worries me, these kind of stories. That we're totally disconnecting from humanity and telling people, you can be anything you want to be, marry any inanimate object that you want.
It's easier than putting in the work of a relationship. It
really is. I'm sure a zombie doll doesn't tell you horrible things or screw you over. That's what I'm saying.
Put the toilet seat down.
But imagine these people are willing to do it for an inanimate object. Like I said, what happens when robotics become so good, yet a robot just is unrecognizable from a human or close enough? I mean, obviously, this thing doesn't even do anything robotic. It just
without
sits
a
there.
doubt.
You know what I'm saying? What happens?
There's going to be
people
without a doubt.
People are just going to disconnect and disconnect. That's the new population control.
Yeah.
Give us enough toys that we don't want to connect with humanity anymore, and we'll mirror our inanimate objects or our virtual wives or husbands. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Virtual girlfriends.
And then there'll be laws trying to go against it, and they'll say equal rights for people and their virtual companions, and I don't know, or the robot companions. I don't know. I fear for our future. I really do. But that's it for the Worldwide Web of Weird.
Mad world.
We're going to have our guest Jackie Barrett on after this commercial break. We will have phone calls later in the show. Don't forget, check us out on our Patreon. We're going to be starting to record some special live shows. We're going to go live on our radio network, not on Facebook or YouTube, and record some special podcasts we're going to load up just to our Patreon for the Patreon subscribers. Please help donate for the show. We need your help to keep doing more. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and now the radio, but I want to expand us more. And with your help, we can do that. All right, guys, we'll be back after this short commercial break.
Enter the occult world of necromancy.
You were brought here for one purpose: necromancy.
A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era. It's the art of reviving the dead. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act.
The devil god brings life to the dead.
No, please. No, please.
And death to the living. Necromancy, starring Orson Welles and Pamela Franklin. From Cinerama releasing. In color, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and InterfaceDev.net.
He is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Can Tim Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Hello, I am Fernando Martinez. I think by now you know I am an emotional kind of guy. People stop me in the street and say, Fernando, what the hell is wrong with me? Silk shirt, hairy chest, enough aftershave to drown a household pet, but I still cannot get a woman. I tell them you are an ignorant fool. Without a symbol of power and fertility around your neck, what kind of woman is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed up with Medallion Man, the shop for medallion needs. Medallion Man caters to all levels of masculinity. For the strong, silent type, a medallion the size of a hubcap will say everything that needs to be said. Even singing medallions for the Casanova, who knows music is the food of love. Model trains, dollhouses, diapers, whatever your interest, we've got a medallion for you. Don't forget, every woman knows if you can't support a medallion, you can't support a family.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS Ranger.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Jackie Barrett. For more than 26 years, Jackie Barrett has been a psychic medium and author. Her amazing abilities to both communicate with the dead and guide the living have propelled her into the spotlight. She's known throughout the world as America's foremost occult and paranormal expert. Jackie's remarkable efforts with the Red Cross and the Jackie Barrett Foundation have raised millions of dollars, and her compassion has earned her a great deal of respect, enabling her to help thousands of people from diverse backgrounds. She has clients all over the world, including celebrities in the music and entertainment industry, politicians, socialites, and professional athletes. Jackie is most sought after for her unique seances, where she allows the guests to directly communicate with contacted spirits instead of the traditional seance where only the medium will make contact with the spirits. She's been issued a captain's badge for now retired New York City Police Captain Sean Crowley for her work on cold cases. She works with him and her daughter Joanne, who assist her with both cold cases and private clients. Jackie also continues her work with personal clients around the world. Jackie's latest accomplishment is her just published book, The Haunting of the Gemini. It's a riveting account of her journeys with the New York City Zodiac Killer. After almost 2 decades of silence, he chooses to speak only with Jackie, and the book tells for the first time the true extent of his crimes. The Haunting of the Gemini follows her last book, The Devil I Know, which chronicles her experiences with the Amityville murder and Ronnie Defoe. And we had her on, I think it's almost been 2 years ago since we had her on. We talked about a lot of this. We'll probably get back into tonight, but she's got a lot of new stuff, and I can't wait to have her on. So let's go ahead and get to our guest. You there with me, Jackie?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show tonight. I'm glad to have you back again.
Oh, it's wonderful. I must say, like, your introduction, like the music, um, that really friggin' rocks.
Oh, I wrote it. Thank you.
I was laughing so hard. I love it. The Casanova. Yeah.
So I gave a bit of an introduction there for you, but I didn't know if you want to tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
I'm boring. No.
No, not in any what way.
Okay. I don't know. I really don't like talking about myself so much. I work really hard, and I just make sure I get everything done. You know.
Well, I said before the show, before I had you on, where I first saw you, of course, and we, was the I think it was like the American Psychic or something like that. That's the contest TV show you did. And when I saw you on there, you blew me away. You walked onto this murder scene, and like you knew that was your bag. That was what you're good at. You nailed it. I don't remember a single other psychic from that TV show, but you.
Yeah.
Because you blew me away on that show.
I wasn't allowed to say that. Well, I was actually separated from everyone. And I don't even remember the hotel they put me in. I don't even know how I got to California. But I did it because I had a goal. And my goal was to, at that time, you know, I also do hands-on work like Habitat for Humanity and Covenant House and animal rescues, Best Friends. So the earnings for the show was to, you know, go ahead and help rebuild after Katrina. And it's still happening today. You know, I mean, it's horrible.
Sadly, yeah, they're still rebuilding.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's one whole section that's completely down. And, you know, so my thought was, you know, this $100,000 would go there.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't want to really like keep going through this. And I would have to, I had the attitude, and I know like sometimes I have like a bad attitude, but I guess.
You remember you pushed somebody into a pool on that one, was it that one?
You know, but I did a lot of other stuff too. I think the host went down to like a hole, like something happened to him, you know, but he was okay. I mean, I helped him out afterwards, but it was like, it was sort of like, stop messing with me. But it was, they had me separated, and I was like, all right, I'll do this. And I know the other ones were all together. And Joe, who is supposed to be my personal assistant, hacked for me. And she, you know, it's like, you know, when a girl, well, I don't know about guys, but I know when a girl likes something, like we buy double of everything, you know. So I went with like 2 left shoes.
That's a great way to start.
Man. I had 2 left shoes, and they were flip-flops, and there was like, we were in, I know a few times you were in a desert, and I was getting bit by all kinds of things, and I was walking like, you know, my pants were broke. They weren't even ripped. They were broke, like in half, you know, and I had 2 left shoes, and I was like, what am I doing here, man? You know, like, this is crazy. What am I doing here? I don't even know the name of the show.
And the producer's like, where did you get this woman?
Yeah. And I tried. I really tried. And I feel guilty saying this because I know, like, everything was supposed to go to the, you know, to the foundations that I wanted it to go. And I sort of felt guilty because, like, I just stood up one day and I know they had to do a lot of editing around me. And I just stood up and I was like, what does it take? And not these, like, I'm going to keep my language good, you know, but what does it take to get kicked out of school? Like, seriously, what do I have to do? Because they did so much to me on there that it was crazy. I was left in the desert. I don't know. I even hitchhiked in California.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I tried to get out of there.
You need psychic powers for that. I'll tell you what, you're in big trouble.
No, dude, I wound up in East LA. It was cool because I'm going to tell you why. I was starving. I'm a vegan, and everything they had to eat had a lot of meat. I found the best burrito place. I was like, the hell with this. I'm hanging here. Let these others do what they got to do, and then I'll just walk in and I'll just kick butt on this. But then they called the cops on me and they said I was missing.
Oh my God.
I wasn't missing. I knew where I was. I was in Cypress Hill. And I was chilling there, and I met some nice people, man. And I was like, I'm gonna hang here until I have to go on, because they were blindfolding me and keeping me in a hot van.
Oh my God.
How did the fans feel about that? Jackie Barrett was
taken by Al Qaeda is what it sounds like, not producers.
Yeah,
but.
and then I got in touch. I was able finally to get in touch with Joe, who was hanging out with I don't know, somebody from Guns N' Roses, and I was like, Joe, like it's been days. I got the two same flip flops on. I have broken pants.
Joe's hanging out with
up?
Slash, man. Give her a break.
I know, this is like horrible, right? So she said to me to chill. When I heard that, I flipped. I just flipped. I was like, I can't believe this. I was yelling in the middle, and you can't yell in the street there because it's like you're crazy then, you know? It's like I'm in New York. They're used to that. But I was like, no, I was the only one walking. And at one point I had pajamas on. I remember that. It was hot as hell. And she packed me like thermal pajamas. I was like, I don't have clothes because the other psychics broke into my room. Okay? Not Joseph Tittles, not the guys. The girls broke into my room, took my clothes.
What?
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff to me, man.
And the one thing that me and my wife remember from watching it, like I said, I don't remember any psychics but you. And the reason I remember you is I thought, why did she not win? Because, like, you nailed it. You nailed it when you went into the murder scene. None of the other psychics I felt came as close as you did.
Well, I mean, a lot of time has passed, but there was some things that I saw were just not like on board, you know. And I remember going to get some soup finally. Like I was allowed to go somewhere. They always had people with me. So, and a lot of it had to do with because I am bonded in California and I do work there as well. I go back and forth and work with different law enforcement. And the other psychics didn't know this about me. So, I was on a different case as well. And I was also doing a video game up in the Hollywood Hills.
You were doing voiceover work, right?
Yeah, I was doing voiceovers for Rob Zombie. So I had to do some different things. So, you know, they had people come with me to make sure that I would come back. That's what it really was. So, so I did come back and I was like going through this, you know, and I sat back and I watched and I saw what happened. And it was very underhanded. So
typical Hollywood.
Yes. So I was hanging out in Jerry's, right? It's like this like diner. And I was hanging out there and I said, you know, I have to like call them out on this. Like I am so on the up and up. I don't like stuff like this and I'm unhappy with it. And they told me straight out, like, you know, if I do that, the whole show gets in the garbage.
Yeah.
And it was the last day.
Well, the whole show ended up, I don't think they ever did another show, did they? It was just that one. I never saw any other one.
Nope, it was just that one. So I just said, you know, I'm going to swallow this because I knew before, I knew that morning and it really hurts your pride when you know you have to, you know, sort of like eat it, like just take a fall. And I think because, Hollywood made us like the angel and the devil.
Yeah, they made you the bad guy.
Yeah, and I don't even know how I got to be the bad guy. That's the thing. I don't get it. Because I wasn't crying and like I didn't bleach my hair. I was like, how did I become this like bad person? Oh, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it all the satanic symbols on me? Oh, I am so sorry.
Maybe. Might have had something to do with it. I don't know.
So A&E said, actually, it was Lifetime. They came to visit me, and they said, we'll make sure your organizations get taken care of. And this is the first time I'm coming clean with it.
So they ended up still giving money to the foundations?
Every one of my foundations was absolutely, they did get the money.
That's awesome.
I didn't see a penny of it, and I lost by 2 points. That was the deal.
Yeah, but I think that's what screwed them for ever doing another show, because we saw that one show and it was like, well, that's not right. Like, it was me and my wife. I remember watching that show with it. It's been years ago, but me and my wife looking at her like, wait, how did she not win it? Like, it was like, I mean, it was to me so obvious that you nailed it and the other people didn't so much, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were like getting sick on the side, and then they had me babysit one of them. And I was like, this is crazy, because I didn't think the audience realized, like, you're there for a long period of time. So I was allowed to come back and forth. I was allowed to come home maybe a few times a month. But they already told me I wasn't going anywhere. Like, I had to go for the duration of the show. And I was like, okay, so I had work to do there. There was, 3 homicides I had to clean up, and I had to do some voiceovers. So I was like, you know what, this is good. It's a win-win for me, and I'm going to, kick butt on this. Like, I have no problem with that. Like, I'll sit back and let you do your thing, then I'll just come in and take care of it, And
that's really what you did on that show. You literally walked in and nailed that.
And that's what I had to do, because I was all in for it, man. I saw these animals. I knew what they needed. I made a promise, that I was going to go in there, and I didn't care how sick I was, and everybody was coming down with something. And, I was very sick, and actually my doctor's on Facebook, and he was treating me for a triangle infection, which could go to your head.
Oh, geez.
And it was very serious. And I was on loads of antibiotics and all kinds of stuff. And everybody was just getting stuff. And I can be a lot of fun, but I'm like no nonsense, So I'm not into the drinking scene. I don't go to bars. I don't do this. I like to be very level-headed. I know I have to be in full mind. And I know what was going on afterwards and what have you. And they told me I had to babysit this one, And I was like, this is like some whack stuff. Why I got to babysit a grown woman,
Let's just leave her with a woman with the satanic symbols on her. She'll take care of her.
Yeah, I'll bring her right to Cypress Hill. So I was like, I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I got 2 left. I didn't even have 2 left flip-flops. At this point, I had 2 left feet, because it was like so hot. I think like my feet melted. Like not even the flip-flops. Like my feet melted. So I saw her go into the bathroom, and I was just staring at the door, and I was like, this chick don't have to use the bathroom, man. Like, who are you dogging around with? I happen to be a really good lockpick, okay?
Oh, my God.
So I was like, this is not a problem for me. We were in Starbucks, and I got in there, and what I saw, I was like, come on, dirtbag, let's go.
I can imagine a few things going on in the bathroom.
Yeah. I was like, we got stuff to do. And she was arrested after the show anyway, so I was like, actually for kidnapping. That's way crazy.
Oh, my God.
That's way crazy. You know what I'm understanding?
Why was she the evil one?
Yeah, I don't. Well, she had bleached hair too. But you know what? I don't understand. I don't understand how she could kidnap anyone. I would just I would elbow you right in the face and you'd be on the floor. Like how you kidnap someone so big? Like she's a big woman, grown woman, and the one she kidnapped had to have 100 pounds on her. I was like, there's no way, because they called me to go find her.
Oh my God!
And I was like, where do I fit into this equation? Why do I always have to go do this? And when I saw it, I was like, no, man, this is like Castle Freak stuff. This is
God.
no way. But they didn't do another show like that in the U.S. But here's the kicker: last year, I got an offer to go to the Ukraine to do the same challenge.
Oh, geez.
I was like, Joe was trying to hop me up on this. I was like, oh, hells no. No way am I getting lost in the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's one thing to get lost in L.A.
Yeah, no, getting lost in L.A. could be cool,
Yeah.
I mean, you can I'll just blend into stuff, whatever. But in the Ukraine, I don't even speak the language. Like, what am I going to eat? What am I going to do? She said, don't worry, you're going to go underground. No, I know I'm going to be one of those kids. I know what's going to happen to me. You see, they hop me up. I get all hopped up on it. I'm like, yeah. And then my agent jumps into it, and it was ultra fabulous. And it's like, oh, you can do this, girl. You got this. You got this. Yeah, I got it. They're going to be huffing glue in a subway station. I know it. I know it. I'm gonna be like going into rehab afterwards. I know it, man. I was like, no way.
Either that or you get taken by some terrorist. I don't know.
Well, that I can live with as long as they're cute, like you just play dumb or whatever. But even that I get bored with and probably do you in. But I'm like, no way. And she was like, you got to do it. You got to do it.
No, you don't.
No, I don't have to do nothing.
I'd like to have you on for another show. I'm saying, I don't know if you'd come back from the Ukraine after the last experience.
No, I was like, I can't do this. They're gonna kill me. And I saw the other contestants. I was like, oh, hells no. One had a tattoo of an eye, like I guess like his third eye was literally.
Well, maybe you would end up being the good one this time.
No, I don't think so. And their reps kept calling, and they didn't even speak English. I was like, man, this ain't happening.
No.
And I told Joe, you go, make believe you're me. Don't worry about it. They're not going to know the difference. They're not going to know we're cool.
Jackie Barrett just became really young.
And there was a few times Dr. Drew called me to be on with DMX.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, I'm not going to. He's box. I mean,
yeah.
I was like, no, that was hardcore stuff. I said, no, I didn't feel it was entertainment. Like, what kind of entertainment is that? That's not entertainment.
No.
Like, that shouldn't be on TV. And I didn't even know. No way. Me and DMX? No way. Like, one of us is going to get killed.
Were you going to read for DMX or something? Or
no, I was supposed to help him through his sex addiction.
Oh, geez. What the heck? Get Dr. Ruth.
I don't know. I think Dr. Drew would have been better.
Right? Or Dr. Drew was there. I guess he needed some spiritual help with it or something.
Yeah, right. And then after that, he became a minister. That lasted 6 months. I mean, we talked, him and I, we talked, and it wasn't going to just work. Like, we knew right away it wasn't going to work. Right away.
Right.
It just wasn't going to happen. It just like, pull your pants up. Nobody wants to see that.
Oh, thank you.
Nobody wants to see it. And I'm totally against using the doors like that. I mean, there is so much that I was against with that. I was like
your music. I'm sorry.
The music,
yeah.
the vulgarness against women.
Yeah.
The animals.
A lot of things to be against.
And he doesn't talk, he barks.
Yeah, no.
So I couldn't understand that, and I was like, no, I'm not vibing it. Now, if it was Tupac, I'm down with you.
Probably there ain't no helping DMX either.
No.
Probably not. Not even for Dr.
No.
Drew. Good luck, Dr.
No,
Drew.
and you know, he was going around like he was all gangster and everything. Nobody want to shoot you. I told him, come on, man. Nobody gonna want to shoot you. You're not all like that. Your dogs are gonna get you, not the gun. There's no East Coast, West Coast there. Don't worry about it. I know who those guys are.
Like I said before the show, you lead a very interesting life. The most interesting woman in the world, I swear. I'd like to talk a little bit too about how you've had your ability since your childhood.
Yes.
I remember last time I talked to you. You had a really interesting childhood. Your mother was she? I don't know if you call her a voodoo priestess in New Orleans.
Yes, and she was also a very sought after medium herself. Yeah. So, and you have to be careful. Like there's a fine line. I think you need to take the hat off at some point and come to the dinner table like everyone else, and not think you're above everything, because at the end of the day, we are who we are. You're made the same way.
Yeah.
And she lived it 24/7. And I think from now that I've gotten older and you see things and you understand differently, how these things work, dealing with the dead, dealing with demons, dealing with people who are afflicted. It's, you have to hang your coat up after work, and you need to wash some of that off of you, and you need to
ground yourself.
Yes. And you need to find something else, to fill in those holes and those blanks in your life. And when you don't, you become engulfed in this. Like, your spare time should not be, having these closed door seances for celebrities. And she was involved with Kenneth Anger and that whole Hollywood Babylon. So, that brought in a whole other element of a different, darker side.
Well, you bring that up. I think it was last week. I was talking about how the satanic kind of cultism in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And my opinion that it was CIA started when you get back to like Anton LaVey and the beginning of that and his connections to the CIA and their way of controlling Hollywood.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that. And I did have the opportunity to sit down with him. And, because of my growing up the way I did,
yeah.
and who my mother was to him. But I was absolutely fascinated by what people didn't know. What they overlooked. And Hollywood is very dark.
Yeah. It's gotten darker.
It was very dark. And, I could be blackballed so easy. And I got out of a contract. I want to say, I know exactly when it was, because that's when I decided to end my long-term relationship with Mr. William Barrett. But it somewhat had to do with me disconnecting myself from people that I knew was going to turn very bad for me.
Yeah.
And so I did so, and I was able to do it really fast. And I never forget, it was 4.5 years ago. I was in Rite Aid drugstore. And I was walking around the aisle, and I love going in there and looking at like the kids' toys. I'm a kid at heart. I collect comic books. I love buying balls and stuff like that, and so anyway, I remember going down this aisle, And I was working very close with Stephen Davis Entertainment. And this is another first time that I am saying this. And I know some of his reps are on my Facebook. So they also knew that I was going to mention this. And you didn't know this. But
yeah,
they wanted me to pretend I was still with Will. And offered me a nice contract to do a reality TV show as the couple. And I said, I want this contract annulled immediately. And I have a reputation to uphold. And that reputation is my soul. And it doesn't belong to you or anyone else. I am me. And what I do is real. And I said, you're asking me, and I'm going to say this, and I may be hated by some people, but that's okay, because I can get over it. I'm a big girl. I am not the Long Island housewife. And they said, that's what we want you to be.
You don't appear to me that way at all.
I am not going to drop the F-bomb on your show, but I stopped texting him, and I called him, and he got on. He was real quiet. And I just said to him a few things, and one of them was a few F-bombs. And I told him where he can go, where he can stick it, how he can eat it, fly it, and you know what it. And that is not me. That will never be me. And I don't want that, because what I do is 200% real. Yeah, I don't need a crew to bang in the next room. And I know who they hire to do stuff like that, because I've been in the business for over 20 years. So, and there are things that I know that I can crush most of this this television that people watch.
It's like, there's this veil, a curtain, and what's behind
yes.
it. The real Hollywood, the real darkness.
Yeah.
Of what's going on there. I'm not going to get into all my theories tonight, but there's something.
There is, and it does have something to do with the CIA.
Yeah.
And it does have something to do with the dark arts, the dark masses. It has something to do with all of that. And I was not for sale. That's it. I'm not for sale. Like, I don't care. I told them I don't care. You got the wrong one. And they knew it. He knew it. He knew it. He absolutely knew it, because I just blew him like wide open. And I said, you can junk the show. You can do whatever you want with it. And the show was going to be called The Seance. There you go. And I also have the trailer. And I'll be more than happy to send it to you.
Well, I believe it, because I've had friends that have worked in Hollywood. I've heard, I have no personal experience, but I've heard enough to know that some people have to sell their soul. I feel literally to get where they are.
I've been to parties. I mean, okay. Let's look at this for a second. All right. The first book I wrote, okay, I didn't have an agent. I didn't seek one out. One of the hardest things to probably acquire is a literary agent. And I didn't have one. And I just wrote this book. And it was actually a true story. And I said it wasn't. I didn't say anything either way.
Right.
I just let you think what you wanted. But these things did happen. So I write this book, and I get these calls, and it was like, we want you to do a signing in the Whiskey Go-Go. We want you to do a signing in the Spider Room. We want you to do a signing here. We want you to do a signing there. We want you to... Come on. I was like, I sat back. I was like, and I'm not putting the book down, because this was my part of something that opened up other doors for me. And this was my work. Writing is my passion. and so are the arts, and of course helping people and doing what I do, but certainly not TV. I never cooperated. I never cooperated on TV. I never, ever cooperated. And they know this about me. I'm probably one of the most difficult people to work with on TV. And I'm okay with it. It's like, try to find me. I'm not here. I'm not there. So then they started following me, sending me with escorts, locking me in vans, blindfolding. There was a lot of things. But think about this. Who just writes a book, right? And all of a sudden you're in the spider room with a lot of entertainers. Like, where does that come from? I don't know. I don't know where it came.
You know, the instant kind of, some people call it a little bit of instant success.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I became a little frightened when I was, and the room was like, it was upstairs, it was black and green, and the flashing lights were going on. And everybody just all these people wanted to meet me. And I was like, wow, this is like really weird, you know? So I dipped out and I left, and I thought it was strange. And these people still stick around you. But when I had, when I did get a literary agent, I didn't seek one out. It was right after I finished the interview with Ronnie DeFeo. The producer, that was a very good friend of mine. She's a very good friend of mine. And she was like, she worked one of the head of Disney as well, Jude Wayne. And she was like my mentor in so many ways. And growing up too, I did everything too young. So she said, this has to be a book, and there's somebody who wants to meet you. So the literary agent came to me, and I love him, and he's really, really awesome, and he watches out for me. And he really watches out for me, because there were, like, Universal Studios jumped into it, and, you know, they wanted certain things. They want to buy you. They want to tag your name. And it was on the table, and, you know, they sort of take over, like, different parts of your life. And he was like, no, you can't have this part. You can't do this. You can't do that. So there are people that watch after you. But you want to know something really crazy? Like, I'm sort of, like, I'm really alert with a lot of things. And I'm a very organized person. And I remember looking in my phone one time, and I was like, I said to Joe, who are all these people? And I went into, like, where you keep your notes, and it was like your go-to person, the person, if you have any questions, all these people, like, next to it, it said, go to the name and the phone number. If you're sad, call this one. If you're this, you call this one. You don't feel good today, call that one. And I said, who are all these people? And she said, oh, that came in on the fax to keep in your phone in case you need somebody.
All from the studio?
Yeah. I was like, what do I need this shit for? Like, I don't need this. Like, what is this? I was like, take this out of my phone. I said, I'll do one better. I broke the phone. I said, now it's gone. There's nothing there. Oh, what do you know? The phone is broke. So I didn't understand. But, you know, it starts like that. And then when they can't form you and control you, you see a different side to them. Because there were times where before I did a show, whoever was going to be like my camera guy, like I guess he was like the director.
Right.
They would send him over to my house here, and I had to spend time with him. Like they call it get to know each other.
Like you can do that at a coffee shop.
Yeah. So, I was like, I'm not vibing it. Like, okay, the dude was really nice. And then all of a sudden we get on set and he's crazy. I said, how does this happen? Like, where's your crack pipe? Like, where did you have it? He was very nice. Then they get flaky. Oh, I had these dreams and I had this. You keep all your hallucinogenic crap. Oh my God, just keep it to yourself. I don't even want to hear it. Like, whose aunt, sister, cousin you were, whatever it is, we're here today, And like I've been bullied and I've been pushed around too, physically.
It makes you wonder how much they get into the heads of the stars once they get up there.
So you see, it happened. He did it once. And that was the last time he was going to do it because there was, I think there was where we were, I looked down, there was a cage, okay? And I looked
This is on
went
set?
around, yes. And it was really there. It was like a cage, like a cell. And it wasn't planted or anything. And I mean, everything was cool. Then he said something. You see, I go into my own realm and I saw something near the wall. So I went over there to go stand near the wall. And he said to me, why are you talking to a wall? I said, did you just say this to me? Like, I was like, back up, dude. Like, first of all, we're going to have a talk here. Like, I'm going to put this line down for you. I have not a problem in kicking your ass. I am so serious. When he grabbed me and he tried to shake me, that's a whole other story. Because I've never seen anyone run so fast because I saw there was like this chainsaw, this like little hand one, down the basement of this place.
This is what you're seeing in a vision while you're doing
this is what I saw.
Oh, jeez.
And I said to him, push me again, because he saw me looking down there. And I had a double coat on because it was really cold. It was winter time. And on set, I wear a double coat until the cameras roll. And I had a double coat on, and I felt it through both coats. I felt the thumb. And I was like, you did it again. Yeah. I was like, I'll be right. And he saw me looking, and he looked over, because he's a big dude. He looked over me, and he saw it, and he started running because he knew he was going to get cut.
You're going to cut a fool.
He knew it. And then he had to go decompress somewhere. And then he became suicidal. All this on the set.
Oh, my God.
I passed him in the hotel lobby, and they were like, go over and talk to him. I was like, no, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to drop him off a noose, man. Because there's no man that is ever going to put his hands on me. Ever. It never happened. It never happened. I would be lying to say it happened in my relationship. It never did. He wouldn't even curse at me because he knows don't go to bed. Whatever you do, don't go to sleep, because you might not wake up. Or you're not going to wake up here, stupid. You're not. I don't care how big you are.
Yeah.
And, like...
John Bobbitt didn't take those words wisely.
Yeah, no, I don't play that game. And I teach my girls that too. All my girl clients, like, I go right into there to get them out of a lot of places. I go hands on. I am not going to let anybody hurt them. I don't play that. But, a lot of people were very worried, even when my relationship dissolved, and they were like, oh my God, we're so scared for you. I was like, you people got to chill, because I'm going to tell you something. There's one thing you have to remember, okay? Like, it would take some tough stuff to be with someone like that. So I'm not a meek person, so I'm cool. So they were worried about, like, I know all these people were worried about that. So get that out of your head. He never did anything like that. That I would be lying. If anybody ever pushed me around, it had to do with TV.
Yeah.
It was not under my roof. It would not happen.
Now, one of the things you mentioned, we've talked about on the show before, is you got to do something not many people got to do. Is you got to sit down with Ronnie Defoe. You say that if I'm saying that right, from
Right.
the Amityville horror case. For people who don't know, he murdered his whole family, and of course, then another family moved into that house, and then it became famous for all the activity there. Ronnie Defoe. Now, when you interviewed him, if I remember from our conversation before, he did believe like something did possess him during those murders.
Absolutely. And you know what? I wasn't, when you sit back, like, things have to happen in your life, and you really have to analyze. You have to get a little analytical, and you have to think about this. Like, what made me move to this place? What, it's not like that really artsy area where I would probably live. If it's not Louisiana, California, or probably a different area in Brooklyn where it's like factories and lofts, right?
Right.
Now, that's where I did live. So what would make me move here? So everything in life is playing out. And the only difference is that I follow the path. Like, I sit back and I absorb it, I take it in, and I go for the ride. And I went for the ride, and I went for the place here. And a block away was Ronnie's psychiatrist when he was a kid. And when he was naming things and the address, and I was like, oh, wait a second, this sounds familiar. I passed this place. I did this. I was there. And then he said, I was where you were, too, in Louisiana. I was here. I was there. And
I remember that you had like this strange connection with him.
Yeah, and our lives were parallel, and it was getting really scary because I was like, wow, this is really something else. But there's so much to the stories that all these people were gathering and talking about, who would get a letter from him or write or do this and say, oh, I have the real story and I have this and I have that. It took me years. It takes you, they say it takes 10,000 hours to get to know someone, like to constantly talk to them. And I went over that point. And there were times where I literally sat on the floor rocking, and nobody brings me to that point. No, I don't allow it. And I just wanted to throw the towel in, to be honest with you.
He got under your skin.
He really did. Like, a lot of things were happening to me. Things, I saw a lot of bad things unfolding, and I had these premonitions already, and I had written them down years ago. And that's one thing people need to do, is when you feel something, write it down. Keep a little journal of just put, private thoughts, just private thoughts, and it could even be something simple as a road. And one day you might be on that road and you'll see how things are actually playing out, in a fashion where it's like, wow, who made this for me, that I'm following this, So it was, I hate to say it was like a destiny, but it absolutely was, because the truth did come out.
How did you even get a connection to get an interview with him?
Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. I had this, he contacted me, and I had this, it was just gnawing at me. It was gnawing at
He
me.
contacted you?
He contacted me.
How did he know about you?
I think he looked online because I had to do, I was involved with the West Memphis 3. So I think he checked, like they have access.
That West Memphis 3, was that the murders?
Yes.
So he's scoping out other murders.
He's checking out other murders.
Oh, that's a creepy thought.
And he's looking at, he said he saw my name in different places, you know. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to get my story out to her. But it had more to do with, he had a premonition of me putting his story out. And
wow.
He wrote this down years ago. He had this letter, and he gave it to this elderly guy in prison, and he held on to it for him. He was in jail for 40 years. He held on to it for Ronnie, okay? When he gave it to me, I was like, oh my God.
So he got out and he gave you the letter, this other inmate?
Yeah. And I was like, what? You know, so everything was like, sort of like a mosh-posh of just a lot of crazy stuff. And while that was happening, it made me blind to what was happening right in my house. Like, you know, things were happening.
Like, related to him, right? With
yes.
The demonic.
Yes.
I mean, if you're dealing with the demonic, anybody I know, I've known a lot of different psychic mediums that they even like get on a phone with somebody who does have something like this going on. It starts to affect what's happening in their home. They have to do things to protect themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, and you know, I've seen it, and I've seen it like on faces, like just people passing me. I could see it. I can see it in them. And
how often do you see that, Jackie?
Probably every day.
That's a scary thought.
You know, I'm going to tell you, like people always say, you live such an interesting life. And some people even say, I wish I was you. I don't. I'm serious, don't. Because you know why? It's a very isolated life. As many people that are around you at any given time, or if you call, they're right there at your door. That's all you have to do, you know, is put your hand out there for you. And these are the good people left over. But it's an isolated life, because it's not that you don't want to mix around people so much. It's just that what you see and what you go through as you pass certain people.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
I've had that encounters more than once.
You have it, huh? And then I was like, wow, this is going to be something. This is next. I remember going to see, I think it was like a cartoon I wanted to see. I love cartoons, and I even go to the movies like often by myself, like the first viewing, so nobody's around. I sit in the back. It's a different life, man. It really is. But yet I don't live in California where it's more accepted. I'm in Brooklyn, you know, so it's a different, but the people know me here, and they give me space. They give me my room. They don't interfere. You know, it's nothing crazy. They're very good to me. They're nice. But I was sitting in the back, and I was watching this cartoon, and I was enjoying myself. And I went into the restroom to wash my hands, and the cartoon was still going. And there was a lady right next to me, and she was well dressed, and she was washing her hands, and she looked up in the mirror, and all of a sudden she turned to me, and I saw she opened her mouth and she showed me something.
What did
Now,
she show you?
It looked like a snake's tongue.
Oh, I knew you were going to say something like that. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, man, it was so whacked, right? I was like, I tried to get to the door so fast.
I would have been out of that bathroom.
Move. Yeah, but we say that, but I was frozen.
Yeah. That's what seems to be the common reaction to these kind of things. People get froze.
Damn it. I was like, damn you, man. Right? And she did that, and then she looked back at the mirror, and it's like she didn't do that. And she was looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, wait a second here. Wait. Like, I know what I just saw, okay? And I was still wiping my hands, like watching my back, and I was watching her, and she's looking at me like I'm going to do something.
Like,
and
why is this lady staring at me?
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Like, but she, as she was, it comes and goes, because I'm going to tell you what happened. I think it was a warning for me to back off, because I remember looking at her earrings, and she wasn't looking at me, and I don't wear earrings, and she had these really pretty old, like, pearl earrings on, and I was just washing, and I was staring at her through the mirror, and then she turned around and did that, and then it was like, what's wrong with you? Like, she snapped out of it, and I was waiting for it to come back so I can defend. And she went to go open the door, and I was behind her. And when she turned around, she had this very heavy, husky male voice.
Ooh.
And what really scared me was, like, I thought she was going to turn around and shut us both in the bathroom door, with the bathroom door shut. And she didn't. But a month later, a woman called me, and she said that something was happening to her mom. And I sat back, and I was listening to her talk, and I was sitting downstairs, and I was messing around with a stress ball, and I was staring at the ground, and I was like, God damn it, it's her. I knew it.
Like the same demon?
Yeah. No, it was the woman.
Same woman that you ran into the bathroom.
Yeah,
well, same demon, maybe.
Exactly, yeah.
We're going to go to a commercial break, Jackie. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. I remember, too, last time we talked about Ronnie Defoe, too, is what I thought was really creepy is that he was astrally projecting himself, if I remember right?
Absolutely.
That, to me, that's a creepy thought. You wonder. I mean, that's anybody that's in jail right now, if they were to listen to this show, be like, oh, tell me how he did that, because that would be. I mean, some really sick people in there would definitely use that to a dark advantage. So when we come back with our guest, Jackie Barrett, we will also open up the phone lines. Just remember, if you call in and you hear us talking, just wait until we call on you. It might be a little bit because we're getting into our conversation, but we will call on you. All right, guys, we'll be back after this short commercial break.
Intercepted transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I will hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine, and soon paranationmag.com.
Knights of the road, here's your stallion. The car for freedom. The car for hot excitement. The car for a man who is alone against the elements.
The Waibatsu Thunder.
The pride is back. It's the power of a compact.
Looks small, but it's so big.
Fuel injected.
Inject me.
My Batsu Thunder. On the toll road of life, you have to pay to prove you can. Live the emotion of an individual.
Thunder.
The awesome power of nature distilled into one vehicle. Because after you get struck by lightning, there's thunder.
The Waibatsu Thunder.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hey kids, tired of running away from home, then getting lost and wrapping your big wheel around a cow, then having no one to turn to other than that weirdo in the van with the dark tinted windows? Or his friend, your creepy Uncle John? Well, worry no more with new OnStar for Kids. Now you can run away in style with an OnStar for Kids kit installed in your big wheel, tricycle, or cute little smart car. Yes, just in time for Christmas, OnStar for Kids. So the next time you're on your way to Granny's house, or Weekend Dad's pathetic little bachelor pad, and you run over a homeless person in your toboggan, OnStar for Kids will clean up the mess, hide the hobo body, and get you there in time for nappies.
This is OnStar. Do you need someone to kiss your boo-boo?
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, we're talking to psychic medium Jackie Barrett. We've had her on the show before. I'm happy to have her back. We're getting into some subjects we talked about last time she's on because it's just more I want to delve into, like the Ronnie Defoe, infamous for the Amityville horror case. He murdered his whole family there. Jackie Barrett's one of the few people who got to sit down and talk to him and get to really know him a little bit too well. And we'll get into tonight, too, a little bit of that. And we got other stuff that she's, new projects for her and stuff we want to get into. But I want to cover this a little bit because one of the things I remember from our last time we talked about that Ronnie Defoe could actually travel while he was in jail. And that's a scary thought. You think about what other crazy inmates might figure out how to do something. I thought about this recently watching the Ted Bundy files on Netflix. I thought about my conversation with Jackie before about Ronnie Defoe's ability to do this. I'm like, imagine if somebody like Ted Bundy had that ability. Maybe he did. I don't know. That's a scary thought. I mean, if you're in jail and you thought astral projection was real, you would definitely try to learn how to do it, wouldn't you? We do have phone lines tonight. You can call in. There's 2 phone lines. The other 2 are down. The 2 phone lines to call in on are 219-230-4444. That's 219-230-4444. There's also the Skype ID OOJBland00. You can call in on that. The other Skype lines are down and the other phone lines down. Just the 219-230-4444 or Skype ID OOJBland00. And when you call in, just wait till we call on you. If you call in and I hang up on you, it's because I already got the lines full. So just try to call back a little bit later. And like I said before, we're not really doing psychic readings or that, but if you want to call in and tell us your own paranormal experiences, I will always welcome that. Or you want to call in and get Jackie's insight into it, or ask her any questions, feel free to call in. But let's get back to our guest. You still there with me, Jackie?
I certainly am.
So,
and
yeah.
You know, I just to finish that story with that woman, and this happens often. Her daughter brought her to me. The one I saw in the movie theater.
Yeah, with the tongue, the snake tongue.
Yes.
Oh.
And it came all the way out. And I seen that only maybe on one other person that actually did this in front of me.
Was that when you saw this on another person, was it before this incident or after this incident?
Way before.
Way before it?
Way before. And there were some like things that were happening to me way even before Ronnie, way before anything. I was in Louisiana and I was writing this other piece of work, and it was well when she came to me, her daughter brought her in. It was in the middle of the night, and there's a lot of things that go on in my house in the middle of the night. But she brought her in, and I knew it. As soon as she came to the door, I was like, oh my God, this woman. So she came in, she sat down, and she was fiddling with her hands. And then she started talking like in tongue and this and that. The odd thing is, like, it just kept sticking out in my head. She didn't see me looking at her. She was looking down in the bathroom. She was washing her hands looking down. And it was just this is why I tell people to pay attention to everything around them. Like, she was giving me the opportunity to look at something on her. And my eye caught this earring. And for what reason, I don't know. I mean, it was just...
you said they were like pearl earrings? Old-fashioned?
Right. It was like very, very old and like an antique pearl. And I recognized it right away. It was real. It was, it was just pretty. It was pretty on her. But my eyes stood there for a minute, and that's not like me. And, so that there is a trap in itself. Like as simple as that may seem, that they're entrapping you to capture you for that moment, to keep you in tuned of what they're going to show you. And everything has a way of playing itself out. And while she was sitting downstairs, she let me know afterwards. I mean, this was going to be a very long process of an exorcism, obviously. But she took the earring off, the same one, and while she was staring at me. And then she said something in Latin, and what she said was, nothing is by accident. And I always try to tell people, you see, it's unfolding, like
Yeah.
it's playing out like a movie right before you, and you are the star of the movie because it wanted to capture you, and I realized that. And then she, the daughter was trying to fix the earring back and all this nonsense. I didn't allow her near my desk at all where I was sitting, and I was just recording her, and I was taking notes, and I was just sort of evaluating who I was going to ask for help with this. But when I came back, I let them out, and I obviously cleansed the place, and I live in the place.
Yeah.
So, that's a separate area of my house, but it's still in my house. And the earring was on my desk,
Knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. And I put it in a safe where I put all these other items. And then I took it out of the safe of the house, and I brought it to the safe deposit box because I didn't want it in the house anymore. But
so you felt like because when you saw that earring, when you first saw her the first time, that whatever was attached to her had something to do with that earring?
It did. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. It belonged to her. Now, she was an older woman, and it belonged to her great-grandma, and she was into the occult. And she wasn't supposed to have these earrings, and whatever was attached to the great-grandma was now on her, but now it was on my desk. And I was like, no way, man. Like, I don't need any more stuff. Like, yeah.
Was she better after she left the earrings at your office?
No, she had to go through an exorcism, and actually, there's a priest. His name is Father Jeffrey Grob, and I met him in Rome years and years ago, and that's the movie, The Rite. They made that movie after him.
Oh wow! I still never seen that movie. It's amazing that is probably to people. I gotta sit down and watch that movie one of these nights.
Yeah, with the lights on. So
right.
So I remember taking a course there, and a lot of things were happening to me during this, and I had the opportunity years and years ago to meet with him, and then I met with him on several other cases, and they weren't really, these were his personal things, and two of them he wanted me to sit in on. So the earring was in the safe deposit box. After she didn't have them on her, and after everything was said and done, I remember them falling from the ceiling of it was done in the hospital, and I remember them falling from the ceiling.
Oh, so, like during the exorcism?
Yes.
So they aported. They left your safe deposit box and ended up there?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. And that I've only seen once.
Yeah.
And everything, but things have happened to me where I have dropped coins, and literally right in front of, like, maybe a foot in front of me, straight down, and gone. I've seen it go right through the floor. Gone.
So you've seen them where they take the object.
That's right. And that's a demon. Don't fall for trickery. That's a demon. That is
that kind of powerful stuff. It's got to be something powerful like that.
That's a demon. They love that stuff.
Well, have you seen the Skull Project?
No.
Well, that was mediums who gathered to try to better communication. They did a lot of different experiments, but they had a lot of aports. They had stuff like newspapers from like the 1940s that were like tested and printed. There was no way they could have faked it, show up, but they look brand new. And it's like the spirit, like whatever spirits were aporting this stuff were like collecting junk over the years.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I mean, I didn't see that in particular.
Yeah.
But I have seen, I absolutely have seen things that, it just makes your skin crawl. I have seen things where people have called me for different reasons, And, you know, I take the phone all over the house. I'm walking through the house, and I'm sitting in a room or something, and I'm listening to them, and I'm trying to figure out what is this really about, because the type of personality that I'm evaluating psychically, and also, you know, like you have to use like your smarts, you know, like you try to kick your IQ in there. And I've seen things peek around the corner that look really scary, man.
Because you're on the you're on the phone with some. I've had that experience, Jackie. Because you're on the phone with that person, and whatever's attached to that person shows up in your home.
Yes.
I've had that experience. I did a tarot reading. This is the last over-the-phone tarot reading I ever did. When I was in my 20s, I got people who were like, oh, yeah, do a tarot reading for me from Ohio and Texas and California. I do these phone readings. And I did this one for this guy, and I was getting bad mojo. Like, bad mojo. And he wasn't really connecting to what I was saying, but I was saying he was into some dark, deep, like, 50 Shades of Grey stuff, you know, and he was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's a dark world.
And seriously, I looked, Jackie, and it was like during a storm, and the lights were out pretty much in the house. I was by myself, and on the phone with this guy, and I turn and I look, and I see this guy, this dead guy on my couch. It looks like a dead guy in a black suit, white shirt, black tie, but totally dead, like the zombie face. And he just like smiled at me with this horrible smile, and then it was gone. And I was like, I'm going to have to hang up now. That was the last time I did that.
Wow. That is so creeped out. That is so creepy, man, because these things last with you. You know, a few years ago, not too long ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was called to do something for, they were like a band like Typo Negative, you know, and they wanted to conjure. They were having a party in his penthouse in the city, and he wanted to conjure. I think it was Jim Morrison, and that was really easy for me because Jim Morrison was very close to my mom.
I remember this. Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? This is like super cool, super easy money. That's how I looked at it. I was like, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna blow them away. I'm going to be in and out. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm like, I'm a straight edger. I'm like, man, you guys can get stoned all you want. I'll be there.
I'll bring Jim Morrison with.
That's right. And I was going to, that's it, man. I even had the last time when he was in Louisiana and he went to go see Mary, who is my mom. He left her these beads, and as he was leaving, I was a little kid, he put them around my neck, and I looked up at him, and I knew that he knew it was over.
That was the last time you were going to see him.
Yes, it was over.
You don't know, I've always been a huge Doors fan. When I used to play music on this show, when I had a license on the radio, the Doors, especially Ghost Song, were like one of my top pick songs to put in my bumper music. And I'll tell you what, if I were to know somebody who could conjure Jim Morrison, I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted to tell you to conjure him up.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what happened. Some really strange stuff happened. Like they had all kinds of things going on. There was somebody juggling in a corner. You know, it was a very extravagant party, and they were, and you're treated like really, really well. At least I am. I was treated really, really well, and I go in with security. You know, so they stand near the door. So these two beefies were near the door. And I said, okay, I'm here to take care of business, you know, and I just like looked around and I said, okay, I want no alcohol at the table because they had bottles of Jack at the table. And I was like, no alcohol, put everything away. If anyone laughs, you're to get it, you know. And here I am. I'm like 125 pounds and I'm standing there talking to these beefy guys. And I was like, all right, put your stuff away, dudes. You know, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to smell anything. And if you laugh, your fat butts get away from the table. But it wasn't said like that, right?
Right.
So, because I had a warning. So I was like, all right, here's how we're going to do it. And, you know, the funny thing is, and people, I don't know how much they know about me or not, but before I conjure anything, I always play Jim. I always play Roadhouse Blues because
that's a great song.
I remember Dancing on Fire with my dad, you know, because my dad, here it is, like being raised by Mary and my dad, who was a medicine man. And I used to love, you know, like I can conjure so easy. I can go into a whole different place. I can a totally different place with this, right? So I'm playing it and I'm rocking, and there's something to do with the rocking. Because as you're dancing and you're rocking, you're separating your spirit and you're letting something else in. So you better be careful. People have to be very careful. I usually don't like to tell them things because I don't want,
it's funny you say that, because I have experiences like that where something makes me rock, and I've had some psychic experiences. When you said rock, that kind of like made me think about that.
Yes, and it's a movement. I remember doing something at for MoMA, and I saw this one artist jumping up and down in the corner, and I was like, "Oh, hell's no, stop that!" Like, I knew what he was doing. Like, you know, these are very intelligent people. They're very in tune with the spirit world.
Well, Beyonce says that something that overtakes her when she goes on stage.
I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for a fact, especially when she did Cadillac Records. She had to become. She acted like her. Nobody could be around her. You know, she did everything like her. You have to feel it from your feet up to your gut. And then once you do, but you have to be careful and let go of it. But when you don't, then you become something else. And
you start flashing New World Order symbols and satanic symbols in your music videos.
That's it, man. That's it. You in Illuminati now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and people want to know how you join. It's like, they'll come for you. Don't worry. You know, they know who you are. But it's scary. But this, what happened at this party was it really took a turn for a left on me, and I couldn't control it. And I was like, what's going on? You know, and there was something else came through. And I have people get up, and these two girls were dancing together, and they just went into this different realm. And people think like I'm hypnotizing them.
They're all feeling it.
Yeah, they're all becoming like that era and what's happening, and they thought they were at a concert, and everyone was having these. There was like 15 people having all these weird experiences, and I stood back, and I saw this one guy who didn't want nothing to do with nothing, and actually, when he saw me come into the house there, he tried to get away from me a few times, and I cornered him in the kitchen, and I was getting a bottle of water, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" I said, "You wanna tell me what's up with you?" And he said, "No, nothing." He said, "I just don't want to be involved in it." And I said, "Well, that's cool with me. You just sit on the couch and you keep to yourself and do not look over." But next thing I know, somebody was screaming. He was on the floor and he was having a seizure.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that's what I was like, oh man. And I called my security over. I was like, pick him up. And I put the light on my phone. I was looking for his tongue, and I was like, give me a spoon. And he came out of it. He said to me, "Don't ever, 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 like, say what happened to me or anything, like in the public." I mean, all his friends knew, but he was Kurt Cobain's kid's babysitter.
Oh, wow.
And what happened was that when he went into that and he came out, he spoke about an overdose that he had with Kurt overseas, and he wanted to know why. He always wanted to know why his dad, his dad didn't come to his side, and he didn't speak to his dad. And he saw him, like he relived his overdose with Kurt. And he sat up and he sounded like Kurt. And I was like, whoa, we're in a different field over here. Like, and somebody was like, get him out of it. And I was like, dude, You paid for Jim.
But you got Kurt Cobain, another one I was totally obsessed with as a teenager.
I was like, we got a whole like, we got a whole concert going on here. I don't know what to do because, Jim isn't going to go for this and Kurt's not going to go for this because Kurt's a hard ass too. I was like, oh man, this is going to be so hard for me. Like I wasn't up for this, So he came out of it and he was fine. I actually had to stay with him for a few hours. And he told me the whole story, and he told me some of the things that had happened the day of the murder. And
you said it. I was waiting for it.
Oh, did I
say
that? Oh,
no, but thank you.
Damn.
Thank you, because that's my belief he was murdered.
Damn, I said it.
But that's my belief that he was murdered this whole time.
Yeah.
I've been a huge Kurt Cobain fan. You can ask my mom. But like I had like the special editions from Italy, like box set. I was totally that was my favorite band.
Brilliant. Granted, he had problems.
Yeah.
The smarter you are, the bigger your problems. Okay.
It seems like.
It is. It is.
I always believed he was murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, like so many people, I remember the newspaper wanted information from me, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, no can do.
You don't want to be murdered either.
Yeah, I take the fifth, and he was definitely. He was very smart. He was a good businessman, very good. Don't look. Let me tell you, when he trashed the stage, man, he is rock and roll. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. Look at how much energy it takes.
He sold angst.
Yes.
To a generation that had a lot of it, and I was one of them, so that's why I bought it. Jackie's all right. I want to take a phone call. We had somebody on hold here for a while.
Sure.
We got Zach on the line. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for calling in. You got a question for our guest?
I do. Just have one question. Hey, Jackie,
Yeah.
It's very nice to meet you. How you doing?
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I wanted to go back to your interview with Ronald Defoe, because I did hear stories of apparently where he allegedly claimed that he was hearing voices before the murders had ever taken place, instructing him to murder his whole family.
Right.
My question to you is: did Mr. Defoe ever give any reason as to why he was selected to commit these murders instead of another member of his family? Or did you, or from your research, have you ever come up with anything that
story?
This?
Yeah, he was definitely, like I say, we are molded. Our lives are sort of picked out for us, and we need to, unfortunately, some of this taking, jump on the road and go for the ride. When you get to a certain point, it's like anything else. Do you turn around and say, oh my gosh, this is wrong, let me drop the gun? And they picked the right person. He was a victim of, abuse, and he did abuse himself with very, very strong drugs. At the time,
he was pretty hopped up.
Yes, at the time he was, but when the father had some priest come from Canada to do an exorcism in the house, Ronnie was missing. He was in between the walls of the house. So,
like he was hiding in the walls?
Yes.
That's creepy.
There's actually, like, and it's still there. There's actually, like, if you, between his room and Dawn's room,
I've heard this.
Yes, you can open up a closet and you can go through the walls, because he used to go through the walls with the German Shepherd. So if you can walk in between these walls and come out into a different room, and you're able to do this with that big shepherd, that's a lot of room. And he hid there the whole time. And here's the kicker. Like, okay, he was under the influence of heroin, right, for many years. So to go without it is pretty devastating, because what your body has to go through. And for someone to opt not to come out, that has to be some strong stuff. Not the heroin, the priest.
Yeah.
So that had to be like, you better stay here. Something told him to stay there. And he was going through some bad withdrawals in between those walls. That's some serious stuff. I mean, you can die. You need
So the family
medical.
didn't know he was there?
They didn't know he was there. They had no idea. They couldn't find him. They did not know he was there. And it's just like, the devil had his hand in this. And
pick the weakest link.
That's right. That's right.
The guy on heroin.
And it was really sad, because he would have such anger and then say he was my best friend. Like, he was my best friend. And you felt this sadness also, because it was like that little piece in him, this human piece that's reaching out and saying, like, why would I do this? Like, he looked at me and said, why would I do this, Jackie? And I said to him, Ronnie, we're going to figure this out. And I said, it's going to take time, because you're in prison and I have to leave, but I am going to teach you how to do something. And I thought about it for a while, and I said, is it the right thing morally? Is it, am I doing the right thing? And if I do this, it'll just smash every belief system out there of what had happened that night. And he said, no, it's this guy, and you have to go after this guy. And we did. We went after everybody on that list.
The people he thought might have committed the murder that weren't him?
Yes, because when you are under contract, when you are writing for Berkeley and you have an agent and you're under contract, you must prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you went to this place, you interviewed this person, you taped them, you have people with you, your audio, your visual, you have everything, and everything goes directly to the lawyers. That particular book had 7 lawyers.
Oh, wow.
So, and try to get them all together. Who was in Italy, who was in here, when you have to sit down with your editor and, get all these people, everybody Skyping together.
It's a miracle it got published.
Yeah. I mean, I worked on this day and night.
This is the book, The Devil I Know, right?
That's right. And what happened was, I said to Jude, who sort of takes care of a lot of my affairs with TV, and the Creative Writing Association in California. I belong with them as well. And they oversee things. Now, these are all lawyers, right? Except Jude. She's a director and producer, and she has her own company, right? So I said to her, A&E has always been very good to me. I've allowed them to come to my house. I walked out. I gave them the keys. I was like, knock yourself out. They wanted to wire the whole house. Next thing you know, 6 hours later, they're running out of the house. And it was the CEO of A&E. So I was like, all right, knock yourselves out. Here you go. Don't spill anything. Do not wear shoes. Do not do that. Like, I gave them a list of things. They were like, no. So they did, and every one of them had a different experience. Some of them were crying, wanted to go home. Somebody else moved to Japan.
This is just your house.
Yeah, this was at my house. So I said to Jude, I said, I really, really want to put this interview on TV. And she said, I don't know, it's going to be difficult. Like, the warden, this, that, like this warden came from Texas. He looked like a Texas like hoedown. I was like, oh damn, I got to get past this dude. This is crazy. I had to go through so many points to pass people. They even gave me, and it had someone to do with. There is a federal agency, the FBI in West Virginia, that they have a shrink there, and they give you a psychological, they wanted to give me a psychological exam. They also tested me on some of my abilities, and they were like, this is pretty awesome. But I wound up with a badge afterwards.
This is before you got to talk to Ronnie?
Yeah. And they were like, all right, your head's really screwed on tight. And they were like, she's no nonsense. I was like, look, I'm in this for the truth, you know? So they said, we just want to make sure like you're protected. And then I wound up working for them. They called me afterwards, and I became affiliated with that law association.
I want to say real quick to Zach, though, who's been waiting. Thank you for calling in, Zach.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
You're very welcome, Jackie. Thank you so much for answering my question. I greatly appreciate it.
I hope that helped you.
Have a great night, Zach.
It did.
Bye.
And have a good night, brother. You take it easy.
You too.
So the whole thing is there was a lot to do. Like you had to do all of this, and nothing is done overnight, you know. So it was like 6 months here and there. And I said to Jude, this really has to go on TV because it's the truth. It's the truth. This is what really happened. And she said, it just blows you away. Of course, they had to cut a lot. They cut a lot, you know, because they could not show this. I sat down with A&E and they said, you know, people are going to be floored that we allowed you to do this. Like we put you in danger. We put you in a cage with him, you know, like we can't show certain things. And
is it more about what he said they didn't want aired?
Yes.
Yeah, I wondered.
Yes, and not just that, the things that they witnessed because we put cameras in.
Like paranormal things that happened?
Yes.
Why wouldn't they want to air that? Or they just wanted to keep all that out of it?
I think they wanted to keep it out of it, and I think they wanted to I think they were scared. I think they were scared because things were happening to them as well. Like they were really scared.
And what was it that you taught Ronnie?
I taught him how to astral travel.
So that's on you.
I know. God damn it, right?
Right.
Like, let me go wash my mouth out with glass. I was like, the only way, because I didn't know what else to do. I tried everything. And he said, no, you have to go to this guy. Man, he had me going to gangsters. I was like, it was crazy. The Blue Angel, the heroin, Frank Lucas. I was like...
And his family was messed up with a lot of bad people, too.
I had to go visit everybody, and then I had to sit and eat with them, and then I had to go visit people in abandoned factories getting wheeled in with a wheelchair, which was American Gangster. And I was like, this is way taking a turn, like, for something else. And then he had the Black Panthers into it. And I was like, this is wild. Like, I'm going to get killed. I'm just a white girl, you know?
It was just basically he was going down a list of people that he could say might have done it that weren't him.
It wasn't that he was blaming them, but he did have association with them. So I was like, that family was very powerful. So I was like, wow, okay, in order to get the story straight, you have to go visit. That's like if you're writing a book about me and I say, Aunt Tilly showed me everything. You have to go sit down and talk to Aunt Tilly.
So if you said the Blue Angels were involved, you had to go...
The Blue Angel, you see, Frank Lucas was dealing the Blue Angel in the projects. He was working with this whole group selling heroin, Ronnie. So
Yeah.
he was linked with the Panthers,
A lot of
Frank
bad people.
Lucas, who was an American gangster. And when I sat there, I had a big clipboard, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, and I was like, okay, let's see. I have to go visit the Panthers. I have to go get locked up in an abandoned factory. I have to go in a cage. The only thing missing was like jump into the shark's mouth, you know. And I was like, wow, is this going to ever get written? But I said to Jude, I said, take this to A&E. And I wrote out the whole, I'm always doing something like that. I write out the whole thing, how it should be done. She brings it to A&E, and I said, I want Halloween at this time. Halloween night. And I only had, check this out, I only had a few weeks to get it all together.
Oh, wow.
They were like, get this together in a few weeks. We'll give you the airtime. We'll put the show on. We'll own the show. I said, do what you want with it. I just want to put this on. Like, this has to get out there.
Get his story out.
Yes, this has to get out there. Soon as I got in the car, I had a book deal. That's how it works. Like Jim McCarthy just knew me. That's my agent from the Psychic Challenge, and he was like, "Oh, I have to meet you. I want to meet you, and we'll put this book out for you." You know, and it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. The book took a lot out of me. It separated a lot of people. A lot of people didn't want it out. Other people who had written books didn't want things said because, you know, they didn't find it out. But the thing is, hey, bro, like, seriously, you have to go do the footwork. Like, do what I did and then come talk to me. And then, you know, it was a big thing because women usually don't do occult crimes or, you know, homicides like this, or go into, like, when I interviewed, you know, the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, and Charlie Manson.
Whole other topic too.
Charlie Manson. It's like, they don't do things like this. It's usually men who, or their lawyers will write the book. But just a girl from Louisiana, nah, don't happen.
But it should, because they're more likely to open up to you.
Well, not only did they all just started falling on my lap, and I was like, why do I have like such a like a, you know, pot of gumbo of like serial killers? Like, they gotta like chill a little bit. This is getting a lot for me.
You get a serial killer fan club.
Yeah. And then like I was getting like Charlie. I don't know why Charlie liked to draw pictures of horses and send them to me. But
Charlie Manson sent you paintings of horses or drawings?
Yeah, drawings of horses, postcards, his hair.
Jeez.
Yeah, like I get all kinds of stuff. I get all like things you would not believe. Richard Ramirez was great for, like, he knew a lot about the occult. He was very heavy. He was very, very heavy into the church also.
Yeah, he believed that he was a disciple of Satan.
Yes, and not just that. They wanted him to like join, and he said no because he didn't want to be told what to do.
A satanic cult wanted him to join?
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing this before, too, that he claimed this. Most people write it off as just Richard Ramirez being lies, you know. He told plenty.
Listen to what, you know, I always say I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I listen really well, but here's the thing. I knew the people that he was talking about, and they absolutely, Okay, this is how fearful they were of Richard, like meaning California. Okay, so when they had to transport him, people would see him go into a van, but you did not know that he was getting transported many of times, especially in the beginning, because they feared. They had meetings about this. When I say they, this is the courts, the government, and whoever else, that these people, the church, would intervene on the highway and he would get away.
Oh, help him escape or take him out.
That's right. That's right. No, help him escape, like cause an accident. So they took him by private plane. And they would put him in a van. They would take him into the bus. And then the part that the public did not see on TV was that the bus would go where there was a landing strip, and then they would put him into a plane, because there is not one driver, not one, that wanted to turn their back on him, no matter how many chains he had on him.
Never ended well in any of the serial killer movies, so I don't blame him.
Exactly. And, he's like Michael Myers. So I was like, I said, this is crazy. Like, people don't even know that he was transported back and forth for court like that, because they feared that the people of the church would intervene on the road and cause accidents.
What made him so special for that? For the dark forces?
He was such a soldier of Satan. He was such a soldier of Satan. He was groomed. He was groomed that way. So was the Zodiac killer. They were groomed that way. It was
from
like,
childhood.
Yes, from birth, probably.
By a satanic cult.
They're groomed. It's funny because they're born different.
Mm-hmm.
They are different.
Born soulless.
That's right. Something happens to them, and they were already chosen. They were already chosen, and then they just fall into place. But I kept bringing Ronnie to the point of like, okay, so you're back in the house, and you're telling me this dude is in the house, and this is what I don't understand. And I would keep going back, and he would like keep talking over me, and I would say like hours, and I would say, okay, Ronnie, let's go back now. Let's go back, and I just relax. Let's go back. And he would say, this is the person that was running out of the house with the shotgun. And I said, okay, but this is what doesn't make sense, Ronnie.
This is him astrally projecting to the past, kind of, to see what happened, right?
Not yet, though,
Not yet,
at this point. Like, this is what made me decide to teach him how to do this, because I needed him to see who this person really was. Because he was going after this person for 30 years with lawyers. He was spending money like crazy. He had all that money. He has a trust fund. He was spending it like crazy. Go after that person. I said, Ronnie, you can't go after that person. Why not? Because he didn't do it, Ronnie. He didn't do it. I said, Ronnie, you got to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror with me, Ronnie. Because I work with mirrors. I work with pools of water. I can conjure anything from any element, especially mirrors. And he said, no, he did it. He said, I swear he did it. And he was screaming. He was banging his head on the wall. And I said, they're only going to come take you out, take me out, and we're not going to get anywhere. And I have to go sleep like the prison where he was at. The town was a ghost town. It was fake. And I was like, I have to go sleep there now. And this is like, the fifth night. I said, we have to. Then it turned the 15th night. Then it was the 50th night. And I said, we have to come to a conclusion. So I decided, like, I said, I have to do this. And I remember the temple I belonged to said, if you write this book about your mother, if you write this book, I made sure I didn't cross any lines where you disown you. And I said, well, do what you got to do, because that's a threat to me.
This is the church your mom belonged to?
Me, myself.
Oh, yourself?
My temple. Yeah. So I was like, you know, do what you have to do, like, but it's going to come out. And they said, don't tell people that you know how to astral travel and project yourself into different places. And I said, this has to come out, because you don't understand. I taught him this, and we saw who did it. We both saw who did it. I was in a house at this point. So they were like, nope, if you write that, you're crossed out. And I said, okay, cross me out. Cross me out, because I'm going to take that as a threat, you know. So that's that. And I said to Ronnie, there's only one way we're ever going to get to the bottom of this, is if I teach you how to project yourself. And the longer you do it, the more you learn. You write it down and you tell me what you see. Project yourself into my house. That's the first thing. He was telling me things I had in my drawers.
Oh, that's creepy.
He told me, he said things that I had in the house. He was telling me things like you wouldn't believe. And I was like, okay, you got it. You know how to do it now. And we worked at this probably close to a year, every day, maybe 5-10 times a day. And it was a lot. It drains you. It just drains you. And I said, are you ready for the big one? And he said, what's that? I said, we're going back to 112 Ocean Avenue together. And he said, we're going to go to sleep together. I said, that's right. I said, we're going to do this together. And I'm going to meet you in that house. He said, I don't want to go in the house. I'm scared. I said, you have to go in the house. He said, I don't want to see them. I said, we have to go in the house. When we go in the house, it's not going to be the murder scene. It's not. It's going to be before the murder. Before it. So when I first got to the house, and the owner of the house at the time let me go there. And I went in there. A few things happened to me in there. Like the first 5 minutes, I was like, damn, you know, I got stuck in the bathroom. I climbed out a window.
Oh, jeez.
I got pushed into a closet. I got smothered. I was kicked under a bed. A producer went running. And I love Scott Morgan. He went running. He was like, he don't run from nothing. He's as hard as nails, man. And we had the toughest crew ever. And I said to him, do me a favor, stand outside the bathroom door. And, you know, I'm just going to go in here for a minute. So he's outside the bathroom. And I said, just keep talking so I know you're there. Like, because I didn't trust anything. Like, I didn't want him to open the door, like, looking all, like, messed up, you know. So I was like, just keep talking. And he's talking. And I said, Scott, I'm locked in. I said, let go of the knob. And he was like, I'm not touching it. He said, it's too hot to touch. And I was like, I said, are you kidding with me? He said, no, I'm filming it. And I was like, can you not film? Like,
get me out of the bathroom.
Yeah, do you think you can stop being like a producer for a minute and just like kick the door in? Like, this is a big dude. I was like, do you think you can do it? And he was like, oh, hells no. He said, I'm not going near that door. And he said, open the window and crawl out it. I was like, do you know how small this window is? He was like, squeeze. And the other side was a hill, and you go right into the canal. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna roll right into the canal. I said, are you kidding with me? He was like, well, it's either that or you're gonna get possessed in there. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna op the window, man. I couldn't open up the window, so I broke it. I kicked the rest out, and then I got out. And he was like, we have to replace a lot of stuff. He said, every time you're on set, he said, we're in trouble.
But Ronnie Defoe and you met there astrally, though.
We did. First, I went in by myself. I went into the house. I went around the house. I wanted to see where I felt where I should be. I got there, and then Ronnie DeFeo was to astral travel there. So he stopped at the front door. I saw him. And it's sort of like, it's watching like Freddy Krueger, you know, like when you fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw him and I was like, you have to come in. Like, you have to get in here. I'm in the house. Like, your father's here. And he was like, my father? I was like, Ronnie, get in here now. So he comes in, we go through the house, and I see him changing. And I said, and he looked in a corner, and he looked at me, and everything went really fast, and the shotgun was there. And I said to him, don't, you're not going to do anything. You're going to stay still. And we both stood very still, and we watched the night of the murders together. And it was, and he said to me, here he comes, he's coming down the stairs. He said, we have to stop him. And I said, Ronnie, this happened already. We're watching it. And he said, get him. He said, get a picture, do something. And it was Ronnie.
Yeah, he saw himself.
He saw himself. And I never forget that. So I have the chills now. He was like pulling at the door, and the guy passed us so fast, and he had the shotgun, and he's like, he's getting away. And he opened the door, Ronnie, and Ronnie was in his prison clothes, and I was holding him back. And I said, you can't go after him. You have to wait. And he said, wait for what? I said, remember you said the guy turned around, you saw his face, and he was saying it's somebody else? He said, yeah. I said, he didn't do it yet. And he turned around, and he said, holy shit, it's me.
And then after this experience, did he like call you right away? Like, hey, you were there with me.
After this happened, Ronnie got very sick.
Oh.
He had... he started, I never seen really anything. The only time I seen something like this was a full-blown exorcism.
Yeah.
He'd open his mouth and there was foam coming out and water, a lot, where I went up there and I was wiping it with like towels.
So it like triggered whatever was inside of him, this experience.
Yeah. He was full of fungal pneumonia.
Oh my God.
And they had to tap the lung. So I was fighting with them to get him into a hospital because they didn't have that at the facility. They were giving him like an antibiotic, like maybe once a day or something, like whatever they had left over. And I said, this isn't going to cut it. I said, I'm going to take you to court. They didn't like that either because I took samples of the paint from the prison for another prisoner that was getting sick. So,
also something in the prison. We're going to hold that thought there. We're going to go to our last commercial break and come back and get into a little bit more about what's going on with your future projects, too. I don't want to run out of time on that as well. Mm-hmm. It's just so interesting. I can't help it because I've always been fascinated by that case, and ever since you told me, you taught him how to astrally project, it's just something so interesting.
I'm going to punish myself after this.
All right, guys, we'll be back after this short commercial break with Jackie Barrett, psychic medium. And we'll still have the phone lines open. That's 219-230-4444 or Skype ID OOJBland00. Call in and ask Jackie a question yourself. All right, guys, we'll be back after this short commercial break.
Don't be alarmed. It's only a laser sword fight. Don't be scared. It's only the Death Star destroying another world. Relax. It's only a movie, and it's all for fun. Director George Lucas and 20th Century Fox present Star Wars. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
Lombank, we're with you every step of the way.
We sell your dreams.
We're not a soulless, monolithic institution.
We are, but we use nostalgic imagery.
It's walking into your dream home.
You can't really afford it. We'll lend you the money anyway.
It's kids graduating from college.
With pointless degrees riddled with debt.
It's happy picnics on the beach.
There's sewage in the water.
Family portraits with everyone dressed the same.
You look like twats.
Canoeing in the lake.
By the power station.
Catching fireflies in a jar.
And watching them die.
Cheering at high school football games.
The kids are giving each other brain damage.
These are the things our lives are made of.
Interest rates only 33.4%.
Lombank, we're the American bank that truly, more or less, cares.
About profits.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The Science of Crime is back for another season.
The cigarette was hotboxed. He was nervous about something. His orthopedic surgeon records indicate
that he was a deaf woman who plays guitar. Mermaids, multiple wives, threesomes. This is serious.
They're not detectives or scientists, but they act like they are. They're crime scene cops that take matters into their own hands. These guys are so smart, they never have to look anything up.
he was neurotic, with a love of puppies and experimental cooking.
I knew it. It's a partial lesion caused by light to medium tearing of the thoraxal cortex. Obviously, you can tell at a glance by the fingerprint on the mustard bottle. Andrews, my acting sucks ass.
The Science of Crime. It's forensically boring.
From deep space, the seed is planted. Terror grows.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Certificate X. Now showing London Pavilion, classic Oxford Street.
Heat 'em up. Do, re, be gone.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, we've been talking to psychic medium Jackie Barrett. We've talked about her interviews with Ronnie Defoe from the Amityville horror case, her interviews with Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Her experiences as a psychic medium are incredible. Some of her experiences with Hollywood, we've gotten into some of that talk tonight. If you want to call in and ask Jackie a question, you can call in two ways. There's 219-230-4444. You can call in. There's also Skype ID OOJBland00. When you call in, just wait for us to call on you, and then you can ask your question. All right, let's get back to our guest. You still there with me, Jackie?
Absolutely.
We do have somebody on the phone line. We'll take this phone call here before we get too late. Who do we got on the phone line?
Good evening, Jason. It's Mike, Montana.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling in.
Jackie, I have a kind of a question. I've been listening and thinking about what you're saying. When you astral traveled, I assume, to the location, and DeFeo met you there, and he's seen himself, were you able to sense whether he was possessed in that replay, or was it just the obvious, here it is staring you in the face, it's you kind of situation?
Or drug-induced
He had blocked
craziness.
it out.
No.
Was he actually possessed? Because I believe didn't the Warrens investigate the place and say that there was something going on there?
Yeah, the Warrens had investigated the place. I have never personally met them. When he astro traveled, he was not at all possessed. He was not at all possessed. If anything, it was the first time that I've seen something normal. I saw him break down and cry. He couldn't believe that was him. He wanted me to stop him.
But the him he saw murdering his family, that person was possessed, though.
That person was possessed. That person was definitely possessed. He saw that, and he was, I guess, just as in shock and saying, no, that can't be me. As I was to his response to it. And when he was going after, and during astro travel, when he was going after this person outside, I stopped him because it was him. And I said, that was you. It was you all along. It's you in body, but you were absolutely possessed. And when the person turned around, it was very frightening. It was very frightening.
He was like looking at somebody else, even though it was him.
He didn't even recognize him. He didn't, and he just held his head and he just kept saying, the kids, the kids. And that my father was my best friend, even though his father abused him every chance he got to do his bidding.
It's still
for
his
him.
family.
It's still his, that's right. It's still as your maker, so he was himself as astro travel. He was Ronnie. He was
without the demon.
That's right. Without the demon, he was very humbled. He was frightened, and he was asking me to stop it. And I said, "This is something we can't stop. This is something that happened, and you are watching what happened for the first time. Like you are watching what you did."
Thank you for calling in, Mike.
Thank you.
Have a good night, bud.
Bye.
It makes you wonder, and we brought this up on the show before, and it's a controversial thought to some, but you hear about the active shooters that have not gotten away with killing themselves, the ones who lived, like the guy who shot up the Batman movie.
Right.
And that they don't remember.
No.
Maybe it's a defense play, but a
Yeah.
lot of times you hear that they seem confused and don't remember
And they
what they did.
absolutely look it. Like if you see them
Yeah.
at the point of a trial,
Yeah.
or facing right before the trial. And I've seen the face so many times.
Like a deer in
pupils-
headlights.
Not just that, but if you analyze them enough where, when you see them enough in that state, they actually look like they're sedated or on some kind
Yes.
of medication. They look like that. They look like they've been medicated, and it's very frightening. It's very, very scary to know what is actually out there. And I've asked that question to quite a few DAs during these trials and cases. Have these people been somewhat under the care of psychiatric drugs? And they said absolutely not. And their pupils are all the same. Huge.
Yeah. Well, but have you seen the Ted Bundy documentary?
Yes.
You heard him talk about the interviewer when he said Ted Bundy started to get going, his eyes would turn black because his eyes just dilated.
Yes. He absolutely.
Or do
I'm
you
sorry.
notice that sometimes, like, one eye will be just slightly different than the other eye? It's like something's just off with that eye.
Yes.
And
Something else
Well,
is trying to look through.
after I finished this whole DeFeo thing,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to go to the eye doctor, and my eyes were always hurting me. But that's what was coming next, and that was Heriberto said it. That was the Zodiac killer, the New York City Zodiac killer, and after. You see, I was looking for the other bodies, and it was really sad how it was handled, especially with the police and what have you. But he said to me, you have to put my story out. It has to be everything I tell you. You have to say, and I don't want nothing. I don't want airtime. I don't want to talk. I don't want to come out. If I come out, I'm going to kill. And when he was a teenager, he went to a priest and he said something was coming through me. Something. I felt something. I'm changing. And that story itself, he scares me more than anyone.
This is the Zodiac?
Yes, I felt him in my house. I felt him around me. I felt him downstairs. I remember going down the steps after dealing with him, and I was just ready to go down the steps, and I saw him in my mind's eye at the bottom of the steps, and I locked that door really fast. And I remember, just like Ronnie, there's lawyers involved, there's this, there's that. Everything needs to be taped, documented, timed, and it has to be done very, very carefully. One mess up, your whole project goes under. So I remember holding my hand on that doorknob and feeling him downstairs, and I saw what he was wearing. And he called me several minutes after that, and that I had that experience. And at this point, we were going through the process of every day getting his words, taking everything down, then searching it out, what's true and what isn't on foot. And I remember him saying to me, I'm glad you didn't go down those stairs because I wanted to take your face off. And I never forget that.
Was that like him? Because I'm not familiar with the case. He astrally projected too?
He absolutely knew how to do it. I didn't.
Geez.
I did that. I
that's
did that.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I did that with Ronnie to show him, because I was like, I'm going in a circle jerk for 2 years, and you are pointing fingers at everyone, and everyone is going to sue you. And you have me meeting in factories, cars with strange people. And I have to keep doing this because the book says it's true, and it has to be true. And we better do this right, or I'm walking away. And he said, I'll do it. And I said, no matter who you see, no matter what face that is, you have to accept what you have done.
So how did the Zodiac learn how to
do
that?
The Zodiac was a very different story. He came to me, and there was letter after letter after letter, and I was like, wow, I need a break. I can't do this. It just went into print, and the mail came. My mailman must think I'm a big psycho. And he came and he was like, I have a bag for you. And I was like, a bag? And good thing I know him. He's like, it's the Zodiac Killer. And it was, and all on his letters, on the outside of the envelope, there's all encrypted letters and codes and everything. So I have to, he really gave me a run for everything because I have to decode
May I ask, did you feel any sort of way touching that bag of all that energy of him writing and doing all
Oh,
that?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, he, see, the whole thing is like everyone was always like after where, like this mask. How can he hide this mask, you know? And I remember going to see him and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him and he's talking to me and his eyes are totally black. I have never seen it change.
This is
so
him in jail?
fast. Yes. And he said to me, you have to become me in order to go back, retrace everything, and then you will find where she was, where Patricia Fonte was.
What was his name, the Zodiac Killer in New York?
Hediberto Seta, and they call him Eddie.
Eddie.
And I was, you know, he never aged. He, I mean, he's locked away from everyone. He reminds me of Rob Zombie's Halloween. I have never seen, like, okay, I've seen the movie. You go on the set, you see the movie, you do this, you do that.
You're like Michael Myers?
Yeah, but to actually see somebody wearing a mask, like in prison, that's handmade from a crayon.
So he makes a mask in prison?
Yes, and he said to
creepy.
me, you have to find the mask. And I said, where am I going to find this mask? Where am I going to find this mask, right? So I'm thinking, and then it hit me. As he was talking, see, this is how psychics work. As he was talking, I sit quiet, I listen, but I'm seeing things. And what I saw was him sewing, and that looked like a needle. It's from floss. It's in his mattress. He said, you have 3 days he said, I'm going to start timing you to tell me.
So he's like testing your ability.
He was, through the whole thing, everything was timed. Like he would time me and I had to find his clothes that he wore. And I was like, wow, good thing he was slim, right? So, and he had this he had these like hot leather pants and stuff. I was like, all right, this is cool. I can dig this. You know, I dig the whole rock and roll thing. And I was like, is this really his? Like, I got to really wear this stuff? Ah! So I put it on. I dressed like him. I'm all in black.
So he wanted you to get his whole outfit.
He wanted me to find where he buried his clothes. I found it.
Oh.
He wanted me to put them on. He wanted me to take a picture of it, bring it up to him. I had 3 days to do this and find the mask. I was like, there's a lot of work, man. There's a lot of work. I'm on a heavy time schedule. So I said to him, can I tell you where the mask is? And he was brutally honest. And he said, sure, you can tell me if you think you know. He said, but that's going to take a few seconds now out of your time. So, I was like, all right, it's in your mattress. You always had it with you because you like to sleep with it. And he said, because when you look through it, he said, you're going to see my world. And he said, you have to go in your house and put the mask on and take a picture of it. And I did it.
So this is the mask he left behind.
This is the mask he wore to kill.
Oh, my God. And you put that thing on.
I put that on. I put his clothes on. And the first place he sent me, and he said, it's still there. And I was like, I rode the subway dressed like this.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but I'm in New York, so it's like, whatever. People were like, whatever.
It's New York, hey.
And I got a seat, dude. I got a seat. And I was sitting across from Spider-Man. Because he was...
The New York Spider-Man?
Yep. He was going to 42nd Street to make extra money because he was like, who are you supposed to be? And I was like, I said, I'm hot shit tonight, man. And I was getting like Eddie's whole like vibe, his attitude, it was coming through. And I felt something burning in the corner of my left eye. It was burning, and I just kept at it. And he said, you have to go to 10th Avenue. He gave me the address. He said, it's a Spanish bookstore. In the back is a peep show. And he said, it should still be there. And I was like, are you kidding? Like,
And send you to a peep show.
Yeah, I said, well, I didn't even care about that. But I was like, dude, you know, like, you do realize that, like, it's a long time now. I'm sure it's not going to be. He said, you have to go. He said, you have to go. I go, I find the bookstore. I walk in. I have the mask on. I said, I want booth 12. I put $50 down. The guy brings me in the back. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of The Howling.
It's been years since I've seen The Howling.
Like in the movie theater, like the guy was in there. Oh man, I was so freaked out. But I went in there and he told me to take apart the seat, and it was like hanging down. It was like raunchy and filthy, and it was disgusting. And the poor lady, you know, I put in. I was like, wow, it's 50 cents. I put the 50 cents in. And I was like, this poor woman, you know, has to watch me do this. And she was doing her thing. And it was like this little slit opens. And he said, sit down really, really hard on the seat. And I sat down really hard. I put my hand under it. And I felt a hole. And I started breaking this little plaster apart. And it was just compressed cardboard. And I pulled out a map. And I just left with it. And when he called me, I said I found the map. And it was the map to the New York City subway that he was going to blow up.
Oh, man.
So I had to put that aside. I had 47 things I had to find.
He put you on a scavenger hunt. He was having a lot of fun with you.
Yep. And then I had to go underground in the subway and sleep outside for a while. And I broke in that book. I had to break into Bellevue.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to break into Bellevue, which was the old asylum that's now a men's shelter. That was really hard because they had a lot of security, and I had to climb. And I was like, I can't believe this. And I looked right across from the window where he wanted me to go to the old shock room. I looked across the street and I was staring at the New York City morgue. And then that was the next place I had to go and pull Patricia Fonte's file that was in the archives. That was really hard. That was really, really hard getting into New York City morgue in the middle of the night. And man, I'm lucky I didn't get arrested.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
What are you going to tell the cops on that one?
I don't know, but I knew the captain, so I was everybody was looking for me, and I lived out on the street. I did. I lived out on the street.
You were channeling him, though, in a way.
I was. I saw things that I'll never forget. And then I saw him in my house. I saw him downstairs at my desk, like going through the computer. And I lost time. Do
you think he was possessing you astrally?
He had to be. He had to be. He had to be, because I was definitely in a diner. I went into a diner and I met somebody just came over, and he just started talking to me, and I knew I saw the devil, like, head on.
At the diner?
Yes, I absolutely knew. I saw him, and I had this horrible, like, rage come through me, and I was trying to get to the church that was over there, and there was a struggle. I had my own struggle with Eddie. With Eddie, maybe I was weakened from Ronnie.
Right, you did it
But
too soon after that.
and you know what's crazy? Like both of them knew different people that became killers that were not. Like
That later on
okay,
became killers. That they had a connection to him.
okay, Ronnie, his father wanted the doors in the house shaved down. He said, I want you to take all the doors off and shave them down. He brought them to the hardware store. He wanted to have these things shaved down. The guy called David out. He said, David, come on out. You have to grab these doors and do whatever. That was David Berkowitz.
Oh my God, the son of Sam.
Yeah, before he was the son of Sam.
Oh my God.
Him and Ronnie went for a drink.
That's crazy.
And you want to know something? You want to know something that's really crazy now?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something really crazy now. People think all these lines don't cross in life and no, this is impossible. This is this. Ronnie, nobody wanted Ronnie in their prison. All the prisons, Attica, get him out, put him in the basement. They all had bad experiences. All the
Paranormal.
wardens. Yep. I spoke to all the wardens. One guy in Clinton, he was up at the he was up at the tower, and Ronnie was staring at him. He had a run-in with him, and this was a big thing A&E wanted me to get out of Ronnie. Did Ronnie influence him to kill himself up on the tower?
Oh man,
and
that's some Hannibal Lecter stuff there.
Yep. And these are the things I had to go up on the tower. Man, I had to do so many. I had to backtrack, do so many things. But also, I don't know if the people remember the Long Island killer. He was like on the subway. Okay. When the cops were going around with a sketch of Eddie. And they were going to Highland Park. They were looking. They were sitting on everybody was lined up. It's like Needle Park, right?
Yeah.
They're all lined up. They're all sitting there waiting to get their high on and what have you, or their drink or something, And the cops go to each one. Eddie was sitting right there. Eddie was sitting. They went over to him, and Eddie said he knew how to do the blinding spell. Like he did, Aleister Crowley's work. He knew how to do it. He's an expert at this stuff. Eddie is an expert at this stuff. He can put occult stores out of business. And he went. They came over to him. They had a picture of him, and he said they looked at him, and they didn't even show him the picture. They went to the next person.
These aren't the droids you're looking for, but it's like the dark side mind trick.
Yeah, exactly. They blinded the police. And another time he was picked up, and he had the gun on him. It didn't work. They claimed that it was just a zip gun, and they let him go, and more killings happened that night. But he used to do a Ted Bundy thing. He used to either hide in trees. Ted Bundy used to hide in trees, too. And
watch
then
people through their windows.
That's right. He used to do that, and he used to act like an animal on the floor, and that has to do with the Satanic Bible. It's like you're projecting yourself to do certain things. You are shape shifting. You are changing.
You're letting the indwelling happen.
Yeah, and then someone had a sketch of some man that didn't even look like Eddie. He was heavyset. He was African American. He was an innocent man. The Long Island Killer became the Long Island Killer because of Eddie.
He was influenced by Eddie?
No. I'm going to tell you what happened. Somebody gave a sketch. They said, this is what the guy looked like. Right? Meanwhile, they came face to face with Eddie. He didn't kill them. His gun got stuck.
Right.
And Eddie said, they stared at him. he said, he stood there and he said, I projected a different face. And they went to the police station. They ran to the police station. I know who the New York City Zodiac Killer is. Oh my God. There was never more press, never more of a manhunt than the New York City Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
Never. So the person goes, gives the face, gives a whole description. It's this poor guy. It's this guy who never did anything. So the neighborhood started hunting him down. Now you have to remember, back in the day, we're talking about, like, you know, it looks like a Spike Lee movie where people come out with bats and this and that. You know, this is Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's Lower Manhattan, everywhere. So Queens. So they all come out. They're after him. It was that guy. So right away, his wife left him. They pulled him in. He said, "It's not me. It's not me." He lost his job. He became homeless. He went on the subway, and he shot people.
Yeah. So it's like another connection. You wonder. I mean, you talk about like the forces that Eddie was probably unleashing. You know, being into the occult and knowing everything he did. What kind of demonic forces he unleashed that are just spreading chaos where whatever they touch.
Everything. When I first went back with him and I said, you know, what like made you do this? How did it start? Let's go from the beginning. Let's go to your childhood. And, you know, he never blamed his parents. He said, it's not my mommy. He called up mommy.
Same Ted Bundy didn't either.
Yep. He said, it's not that. It's not that. And he said to me, he said, I was sitting in front of the TV and he doesn't even remember what program he was watching. And then it became staticky, like white noise. And he said, then these letters came up on the TV and it was encrypted letters. Mm. And he said, I knew how to read. He said, this. And I said to him, what is that? And like, I even showed him pictures of the Rosetta Stone and Egyptian, like, artifacts. And I went to the Museum of Natural History. I know somebody there. I said, I need the oldest Arabic and in Braille. And they were showing me things. I take it out, I bring it to him. He closed his eyes. He just his hand didn't even touch this stuff. Didn't even touch it. And he's telling me all about it. I put the tape recorder on. I bring it back to the Museum of Natural History. They were like, get that out of here. I never want to hear that again. Like, he knew what everything said. He was reading like ancient Arabic.
Without any knowledge of how he should have known that.
Yes, and not just that. He closed his eyes. And he just put his hand like just went over it easy. But when he was in prison, he said to me, I want pictures of, he said, I'm going to teach you things now about guns and bullets and the force of some of these bullets and the range and how it can go through. And I want you to go to the range and I want you to shoot this and I want you to show me pictures that you did it. And it was it's like really he was grooming you. Yeah, he was grooming the wrong person because I was like, dude, like, I'm just doing the book, man. And, you know, once you do it, this is what people don't realize. If you look back in history, like a lot of these people who write these books alongside serial killers, either they kill themselves.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after it's done, they kill themselves.
Look at the kid that made that John Wayne Gacy.
Yes,
it got so close to him. Oh, see, so much we could talk to. We actually are at the end, past the end of the show too. We didn't get to the stuff you do. I want to give you the floor, Jackie, to give out any information you want to get the audience and what you have coming up.
Well, I am writing something else, and I'm having I don't want to say a little bit of a hard time with it, but I took a break for a while, and it's a very difficult one. Yeah, it has to do with a serial killer.
I figured.
Yeah, but here's the scary thing. He left me his ashes.
Oh, geez.
And it's somebody who just passed.
I could take a couple guesses, but I won't. I won't put you on that spot. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for being on. When that book comes out, please, I'll be looking for it, and I will share it, and we'll be definitely interested in reading it. I have your books. I've had your books. I have so many books. I was just talking to another author about like books I have in this wish list. I have so many books to read, and yours are definitely in there. Now even more, I want to get to read them because it's just so much. Like 3 hours goes by so fast with you. And I think last time we did on Winley did 2 hours. I don't even imagine how we did that last time.
Okay. You know what's crazy? Like I haven't, like Ronnie always gives hints, and I think the audience should know this about you. When he called 2 days ago, and he said, I'm doing okay, and he was just small talk, and I knew it was coming, and he said, oh, and the radio show. I said, what radio show? And he said, I love Jason's show.
Oh, jeez.
So
you're kidding me.
No, I kid you not.
So Ronnie Defoe is watching Paranormal Soup in jail.
And he's like, don't bullshit me. And I was like, I said, I'm not doing a radio show. I'm not. I'm not doing.
Well,
I don't even.
If he's watching my show, he knows you're lying because it's posted.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I know. I was like, oh man, he's never really done that to me before. And he said, so you think I still don't have it?
Oh man.
And I was like,
well, he has the internet, obviously.
Yeah, Avi or something else tells him. I don't know.
Maybe he watches the rerun of this. Well, thank you so much, Jackie. And
thank you.
I definitely want to have you on again because we could talk so much. There's so many doors I wanted to go down. I didn't even get a chance to tonight.
Oh my gosh. I know. Well, you have a good night, and thank you, and thank everybody for listening.
Well, thank you, Jackie. You have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Well, that's it for the show. We had a little over, but hey, that's what you get to do when you have your own radio network. I can do as long as I want, but I do have to end it. So for next week, let's look and see, because I always forget. Oh, I think I know. Jim Harold, another returning guest we haven't had in a long time. Right. Jim Harold of Campfire, podcast and true crime podcast. I mean, the paranormal podcast. I mean, he's the podcast king and the king of ghost stories. So I cannot wait to have Jim Harold back on. He's such a fun guest, and Jackie was awesome. Again, there's so many holes rabbit holes we didn't get to go down to tonight. Like all these things, and Jackie when she goes down a path, you just got to go with it. And man, there's just so many things I wanted to talk about with Jackie. So we'll definitely have to get her on again. Don't forget, guys, to go to our Patreon. Just look up Paranormal Soup, Jason Bland. Help support the show. We're going to be adding exclusive content soon. We're going to be going. You can catch it. If you don't subscribe to Patreon, you might catch it on our radio network. Check us out on our website, mwpparanormalsoup.com. You have a radio player there, or on the TalkStream Paranormal Radio app. You can check us out 24/7, playing rebroadcasts there. But we're going to go live there sometimes, not on Facebook or YouTube, just on there, audio only, and record some special, you could call podcasts, I guess, but live podcasts that we're going to upload later to our Patreon, just for the patrons. So some special episodes, some special topics, that'll be coming soon. So go help out if you want to be able to hear those shows. If you can't catch the live show, it'll be a surprise when it happens. Become a patron. Help support the show. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on our Facebook page, Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, and on our YouTube page. Check us out at Jason Bland Paranormal Soup. Subscribe and follow there. Thanks for everybody watching. See you next bad time, next bad channel. I totally screwed that up. All right, guys, have a great night. See you next Sunday.